Flo Rogan, and this is the Art of Rhyming, episode 54. Just because you rhyme doesn't make you an artist. You know how we do. This is something to aspire to. Another very special guest tonight. This is from the home team. We're talking Asun Eastwood. Long overdue for us to chop up. Just a fixture in the underground. He's done a lot for Canadian hip-hop in terms of establishing us with that grimy sound on the international stage. And let's just move along with no further ado. Let's get him on the live. How's everyone doing tonight? Jack Kritzer, thank you for joining. Those are the Drum Dealer 718, Bad Lungs. Thank you all for joining. There he is. Peace, Asun.
Peace and blessings. What's poppin'?
Blessings, bro. Not much, man. Kids getting put to bed, and the basement is mine, brother.
I know it well, man. I know it well. I'm in my bag right now because I got my get out of baby free card today. So tonight,
nice, man.
I'm enjoying it.
We're both fortunate, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I just wanted to say that verse you posted today, man, was deep, bro. I'm still dissecting it. I gotta play it back a few times.
Thank you.
But man, nice.
That's the intent. I appreciate that.
Is that a foreshadowing of shit to come, or?
Yeah, I think so. I'm very much in the zone, and you know what? I'm just gonna be a lot more vulnerable this way around. Like, you know, I've been here for so long as far as living experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way you can separate yourselves nowadays. No matter what, someone's gonna sound similar, someone's gonna compare you to someone.
Yeah.
All you have that's different than everyone else is your experience. So I'm gonna my vision board motion is just to get a lot more vulnerable with the music and tell some truths. And even in that, I said a couple lines that people might not grab onto, but like, I said some things that I've been through, you know, some little problems I've had my own self. So
Are you in a mindset where it's like we're gonna give it everything we got and see where the chips land at this point, man?
And right now,
is that the mindset?
Right. And like I said about the kid, like, you know, this is my first kid that I know about, and it's really like, it really made me realize how much kid games I've been playing in life, you know? And not to say that this thing is a kid game. I'm very business minded and I'm very serious, but I think that this has added to the seriousness. So like, as much as, I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into it in the interview, but I haven't been serious about music into my older age anyway, since 2016 anyway. So, I mean, once I choose something, I take it to the max, and I feel like I haven't maxed out here yet.
You're saying you haven't been serious about the music.
But I haven't. I thought I was. Let's say.
You know what's funny? You told me that in the DMs, but I did my homework respectfully. I went back to listen to some other interviews from like 2-3 years ago. You seem very on the ball with it, man. So, but now I'm hearing something different. I guess in retrospect, you're seeing it a bit differently.
It feels like, because the game's ever changing, and I think blueprints are different, right? Like, even let's say, to go in construction mindset, every school, every institution has similar blueprints, but they're not exactly the same. It's not a carbon copy. Even a Tim Hortons or McDonald's, the overall blueprint, the overall visual is similar, but it's not the same building. So with knowing that now, it's like, you know, I was trying to pick and pull from other things, but like now it's like, and with that, it's not overthinking too much at the same time too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a combination of things. And like I said, what I was trying to allude to is the kid has allowed me to realize that, yo, I put a lot of money into this already. Maybe I could put more, but we do a lot of stuff on like, you see the shows, stuff that we do.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, like, I know we're going to get into all of it. I'll because I can go on and on. So I'm gonna let you ask the questions. I'm gonna shut up a little bit.
You know what? No. Thank you for getting into it, but I do want to give you an introduction, man. And this is going to be long-winded for those listening, but I got to get it out of the way, and then the whole interview will be framed perfectly.
Let's go.
All right?
Let's go.
So I want to tell you what this interview means to me personally. Okay, so periodically I crowdsource my followers. Who should I interview next? your name has been put forward more than anyone else, actually. But I felt I had to really catch up on the underground because I took a hiatus from this rap
Right.
shit for some years
Right.
before I started this platform. So I wanted the timing to be right. So I feel you represent something special in Canadian hip hop. I'm late to the Asun Eastwood, Danielson party, all that.
Right.
So I sort of let go of the music in like 2012-ish, and I stopped digging for it. And I spent like 8-9 years getting my shit together in life, this and that. Then a few years ago, I started this platform. And so what that means is I wasn't tapped in closely during the majority of the Griselda run or the Rock Marciano run, like in the middle of it, right?
Right.
But I am a longtime hip hop head. I go as far back as 1987, 7 years old. I've been watching Canadian hip hop since way back then.
Right.
I had 2 Maestro Fresh West tapes in my house. Me and my brother, we couldn't share them. I was watching all the local legends perform on Electric Circus.
Right.
Rap City recording that shit after school on our music station. I seen it all. But when I finally got put onto Danielson and I started going back through his catalog and I got to bite the bullet, I was like, I was shocked, bro. Because I didn't think Canadians could make such a thorough street, grimy sound. I took it back to Wu-Tang initially. I know it's more in the vein of Rock Marciano, but I was like, I was shocked. I didn't think it was possible, to be honest, and I was amazed, bro. So
that's beautiful. You know what's crazy is that it's a lot easier to digest coming from someone like you that's kind of detached from my circle, right?
Right.
But like as real, it's humbling, but at the same time, I know because my own circle, which doesn't really give it up like that, that's one thing that they have said. It's like, as far as a grimy album, like a true grimy Toronto album, a lot of my inner circle tell me like, yo, that Bite the Bullet is the one. Like it's one of the best albums that's ever released from Toronto. Like if you compete with 90s music in the States, that's what they tell me often. And it's hard for me to digest that. Like, knowing that they're really more critical of me more than they are giving it up. But when they do give it up, I can't take it from them. But it's a lot easier for me to take that from them.
I know you've probably heard this a million times, but I personally had to tell you because it means a lot to me to see that you guys put a product like that together. And I mean, we've also always had like local celebrities in terms of like hip hop artists, deep talent, evolving talent, but just I feel like for decades, if not years, decades, I felt like the best case scenario was for a Canadian rapper to be mistaken as a New Yorker, so that they can get put on in the States. That's how I feel, and I feel like you guys proved it's possible to come correctly on that type of stuff.
We definitely hear that. We hear that a lot. Out here, they always think that we're from New York, but it's funny when we're in New York, they're like, "Yo, I could hear your Toronto accent strong." I'm like, "Okay, well that means that we're still us." You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, I think the cool full circle moment for me is I was chopping up with Pro Dillinger like weeks ago, and he said when he threw his hat back in the ring with the music around 2019, 2020, his inspiration was like you guys, like Danielson, Asun Eastwood, Toronto head. So to me, I identify that as like a full circle moment.
Absolutely,
to be honest, man. So,
absolutely. If I'm not mistaken, I know like the first time I heard Pro was from Finn. Finn always, me and Finn have that relationship. Salute Finn. He always sends me records, especially when he does records with like emerging artists that aren't really known in the underground. He'll send them to me, just like the just the raw shit. And I'll be like, yo, who the fuck is this? And I remember first hearing Pro, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? And he's like, yo, like I'm gonna do an album with this guy. Just want to know if you want to be a part of it. And I think I did like a song. I might have been the first song on that album from Finn with Pro. That first album. I don't know if that's the first album he released back into this thing of ours, but I think that's the first song that anyone from the camp really was a part of.
And we can't forget about Future Wave because he's a key contributor to that sound, man. So it's the three of you really, bad.
Absolutely. Salute Future Wave, man. I think I saw him passing in the comments, and peace, brother. Thank you for the well wishes.
So to me, I have an equal amount of probably American followers, Canadian followers, but I'm not sure that my American fan base or followers could really understand what it took to get here. You know what I'm saying? And the
Right.
appreciation we have for what you guys
Right.
do, man. So
Thank you.
yeah, man.
Thank you.
So I want to tell you know what I like about your music. Like if you take now, let's take everything I said
Hmm.
away, and then let's say it's just me learning about your entire catalog now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So what I like about your music is you got your own way of thinking, you got your own word selection, and I always been more impressed, like since Nas Rakim, with the thought process of an MC. The
Right.
what do you call it? The just the way they think and the way they express themselves, even more than
Right.
flow and shit like
Right.
that. And I
It's,
feel like you have
I
that. Sorry, go ahead.
think I think what you're trying to alliterate, because I just had this talk with another great MC to me in the city is Juco. I had this talk with him that like the process of getting to a point A to point B to point C to point D, if A B C D is 4 bars,
Yeah,
the process of walking us down those 4 bars and then to get to the eighth bar, and sometimes they all connect. Like I can see your mind getting through those things,
yeah,
and everyone has it. It's not something special. Everyone has it. It's just we do it. I do it differently than most. So if you're not really paying attention, you didn't even realize that first bar and eighth bar connected.
yeah.
And I think the best at that here, to be humble and be honest, is Juco. But
Juco.
this one's about me,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna
yeah,
take it
yeah,
first. But
yeah, yeah.
Juco
Yeah.
does that
Salute to
amazing.
Juco though.
Salute to Juco. That's another one maybe you get on your radar
But
one day.
for sure, man. And but it's like you have your own dialect. I feel like the best
Right.
MCs have their own dialect.
Right.
Like rap, hip hop is a language, and the
Yes.
best MCs are bringing their own dialect
Yes.
almost. That's the way I look at
Yes.
it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes. That's
So
exactly it.
yeah,
Right.
man. So I also feel you really walk the line well between the street shit and the deep thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, that's the deep thinking is important as a grown man. You know,
Facts.
my taste in hip hop has changed, and that's a very important element for me. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So yeah,
Facts.
man.
You know what? That's important to me because why I didn't do music in the first place. My rest in peace, Chops. I actually went to his daughter's sweet 16 on Saturday. The only reason I kind of started rapping was because of my brother Chops when I was young, like when I was 12 and 13. He actually called me Asun mostly. Like he's one of the ones that really instilled Asun because he knew it was a family name for me, but he actually instilled that name around that everyone just calls me that. But um he always wanted to rap. I used to want to hoop. He always wanted to rap.
Right.
And when we turned about 18, like he released mixtapes in school and high school and stuff. So he was really dope. And he always just wanted me to be around because, I'd freestyle and do all that type of stuff. And he thought I was dope before I had any type of voice. And then 2021, we were part of a little group and shit. And the thing about what I hated about rap, I hate not being honest. And
Right.
I hated it so much. Like I'm so neural inside myself that like I hate over exaggerating, although I do it sometimes, but to the level
It's hard not
it's
to
hard
complete a rhyme
not to,
sometimes, right?
right?
Sometimes,
Especially
but
braggadocious
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Especially
yeah,
braggadocious shit. And that's
yeah,
why there's a mode for it. But I try every time back then, especially I couldn't do it because especially back then I was so involved into what I was doing and everything was fiscal for me. Everything was financial. So
yeah.
like I felt like I was risking my life every time I rap. And I used to tell him that like I hate this. I hate we used to go, I remember I opened up for Young Jock one time and
Mm.
and this is like Year of the Gun times and I'm going on stage with the shit on me. It just felt like this doesn't even make sense. It's
So
like
so
it doesn't
so
serve a purpose. There's
it's
no
like
win.
to do the art properly, you need to be honest. But to
Honest,
be honest is to put your neck out there in that
right?
those days
For
and
too many
times.
things, and then
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
difference. I think by the time I got to 2016, I was way more. The rap started chasing me a little. Like every corner, every time I tried to stop rapping, it's like, yo, rap, rap. And
yeah.
chops passed in like 2014, and then it just came back up, and it was like, yo, you know what? My voice kind of had a different. I had a different energy about it, and I just started to like, yo, not overthink things. And then as I'm going through this thing, and all the grimy shit, I'm seeing how the grimy world is. I'm like, yo, I'm fucking now. I'm 40. It's like I can't do this shit. No, I can't lie to these people at
I
all. Like it's harder for me to even be
I
braggadocious in that way. Like the way I brag is
I'm
different now.
still impressed the level of things you get into as it is, man.
Right.
Even removed from that stuff, man.
Right.
It's, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
crazy.
I think vulnerability is what makes the artist, man. And that's why this hip hop shit is not for the faint of heart.
It
If you're
isn't.
doing it for real, bro.
It isn't. That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's
why I
right.
respect you guys.
That's why I
the main reason.
respect.
You
I see
understand?
how you talk. I see some notes you put up through the time, even when you're on not doing the pod sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yo, I can tell your mindset is different because it's a constant questioning. And this is our worst enemy to success.
Yeah.
Because the most successful at the end of the day, it depends what success is for you.
Yeah.
If Drake is success,
Yeah.
those people have compromised so much, right? They're dope. They're fucking ill.
Yeah.
But what have you compromised for that illness? And
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, damn, like I just don't have that in me.
Yeah.
That's easy for me to say.
But I'm looking forward to you saying getting more vulnerable.
Mhm.
That's going to be interesting. So definitely tap in for the upcoming material.
Yeah.
So aside from that, what I like about your music, I mean, the fucking consistency, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like some of my favorite projects, and I went through your whole Spotify, your Big Ghost album. I went through all of it, bad. Seventh was a dope album. The Complex, produced by Wavy the God.
Hey,
98 Miles with Mav, that was a fire project.
Sibs
produced it, right? He produced that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bite the Bullet, produced by Future Wave. Sewer Science was grimy. You know what I'm saying?
Business
of Filth.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, man, you got a lot of consistent projects, but in the underground, what's the value of a big single or, you know, a big song, what would you say?
I don't. That's hard for me to answer because I don't think that's the goal for anyone in the underground. I think that's why we're the underground. I don't even think we understand the behind the curtain thing of like everyone's chasing a hit. Like, you know, like I'm sure Boy Wonder, for as an example, because I just seen him coming up. He's from the East, you know. Boy Wonder probably produces in the vein of what we do the most. But I think someone like Boy Wonder saw the business so early as a child, or not a child, like just as a young person in this game, that like he understood that having a hit now makes this easier for us to operate this game with finance. Because if you don't have financial backing or a reason, one hit, if you go gold on one single, that does a lot of things financially, because all you're doing in music to support yourself is chasing a check.
Yeah.
So if you get one check, I know some brothers, shout out Soundsmith. My brother Soundsmith, why not? I don't know if you know Rebel, Kool-Aid. Yo, those brothers have produced for Jeezy, Nipsey, The Lox, and they get placements all the time, and they get maybe that 50,000, and then you might catch 50,000 in two more months.
Yeah.
But you might not see a check. So you made 100,000 you spend with your homie, but you might not see a check for 2 more years of that substantialness.
Yeah.
So that's how fickle the game is. So catching a hit is really, really, really important. But where our thing is so based on the roots, you know.
Yeah.
So as I get older, like, you know, because I top that fly shit for sure, especially in the back catalog, a lot of fly shit, and I've done a lot of fly shit, and I've thrown a lot of money at this. But the money you need to throw at this is not
a joke.
30,000-40,000 a year. You got to throw 200,000 a quarter, you know, if you want to be a name up there. You know, 250,000 every single, and that's not realistic for how we're moving, at least. And we don't have we don't have other people's money, that type of money. So that's why me and like Fury and those guys, and what we're doing is trying to put that 50,000 into a show rather than a fucking single. You know what I mean?
We'll get right into it, but actually the show. But just before that, I mean, I interview artists at all levels, man. I focus more on the art. What kind of art are you bringing to the table? But I've seen what the difference a little funding can do, even if it's not full scale. But it is almost night and day, man. For sure. Yeah. So back to like the shows and stuff. So finally, I saw you perform at the Phoenix. I think it was about a month ago. That was the Smith & Wesson, Buckshot, Havoc, Big Noid. That was crazy, man. They got a hero salute from Toronto. There were some surprise openers that I know from IG. There was Nejma, Nefertiti, Biggs. I've met Biggs a couple times, actually.
Right. Salute.
I hadn't been to the Phoenix in years, man. It was a packed house. The balcony
Yeah.
seats were full. Was that really the last show in
So this
Phoenix?
is what's funny. It's every time it's supposed to be the last
Oh,
show, but
oh,
we're
is that how
bringing.
they get people out? Is
No,
that
no, it's literally it's meant for that, but they can't even believe that this is happening like this. They've never seen this type of energy over there, and they're making money. So they're like, "What is happening? How is this happening?" So Fury's such a boss, man. Fury is fucking a don. That he breaks shit open. This is why he's been like this with so many other things. He just continues his way of thinking towards the every game. He applies his game to every game, and he just broke down these doors and he he put his money up until, yo, now you got to give me something back because look what we did. Look, like, show and prove. Like, here's the money, and now it's like, yo, now it's undeniable. Like, yo, what else can you do for us? What else can this happen over here? And then you see him doing the wrestling thing too, right? Wrestling is his fucking love. He
I didn't
that
know.
loves wrestling.
I
Hmm.
wasn't following, but that's
Yeah, he
cool.
has Bret Hart. He's had friggin'
Right.
all types of dudes with Johnny Pro. Salute those guys doing big things. Like, it's just business. It's just, and at the end of the day, it's just, this is the income we can make. This is how we can make money.
Are you saying the Phoenix is staying alive on the back of classic and underground hip hop?
It is literally.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yo, viral moments like Styles P and all these type of things, all these viral moments have created something for them. Like, even Toronto rappers post a lot of those shows, and it's just like those guys are eating. The engineers, the sound engineers, we built rapport with them. We put money in their hand too, like after the fact. Like, here, yo, tonight's supposed to be a good night. Make sure you check me out with the lighting. Make sure. So everyone is excited. The bartenders, people are drinking. There's some real dudes coming out. Some of our people are coming out and buying bottles for that type of show.
Is this connected to Gold Era at all? Is that
no?
That's a different
entity. The production crew. That's a different entity. Supreme. This is Supreme Jeans.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're part of that? Like,
yeah.
you're vested in that?
That's me.
Nice.
That's me, Fury, and DJ Merciless. And then there's the back end guy, like DJ Frost. Frost is a legend out here. There's a bunch of other brother DJ Cooley, because they have reggae sound and we have the hip hop sound. So I'm kind of the quarterback with the hip hop, me and Merciless, and then Fury's just all in business. He loves to rap too. Like, he tells me every time, he tell you, yo, I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for you. You being me.
Yeah.
So this push has come over for, like, all right, and then first it's me putting up money to help. Now he's just soaring, so he doesn't even need that type of bread from me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, here. And now it's like, all right, here's some bread for that. Here's some bread for that. And I was doing all the merch and everything, all the ideas, and we're just working as a team, just putting it all up until it folds over. Right?
Yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back to the music aspect of that for a second. It's crazy, like, whether I'm going to the NY State of Mind concert at Scotiabank Arena or here, it's like these acts are on top of the world, man. It's like the people that grew up in that era want a piece of that feeling when times were simpler and better, I would say. Do you agree? That's 100%. What they go crazy at these shows.
You're chasing that. And you see the type of people, it's so eclectic in there. Like, when I look at even the artists, though, the artists get new life. Like, Cormega's hyped to do this. He's done some on the strength. Like, I just want to come out. The love is so crazy. Like, you see the repeat. We had group home. The first time we had group home was in the basement, and we filled up this place called the Basement in west end of the city, and we filled that up. It's only like 100, max is 75. We might have had 150 in there, and we saw that. They didn't expect that, and they're like, yo, what is this? What's happening? Now they're like, yo, the next thing you guys do, just call us. We don't need no money. And then now the word is being circulated. So it's like, yo, so you see, like, Fury going on to introduce Farak Marciano. That's because the people you met, you don't know. This is why the quote, everything is for a reason.
I was at that show in the summer, right? He was hosting that, right?
Right. The quote, he hosted that only because Rock called him. The quote says, treat the janitor like the CEO or whatever.
Yeah.
Yo, a lot of times there's people that come with their, they come with their entourage and some people there, and they get treated in a certain way, and they end up being people that are connected to other people. And connected to other people. It's never really just the main guy. Yeah. And when that happens, now the word carries on, like, yo, that's a real fucking nigga right there. Oh, now you go over there, and then, yo, how our world works, how the underworld works, how the streets work. Yo, everyone's gonna pull that card. Everyone's gonna pull that card. So you don't think Fury's name fucking travels amongst Rastas and fucking Jamaicans?
Right.
He's serious. So now once one of them niggas pull up the card and say, yo, in Brooklyn, ask a man that's a man in Brooklyn, oh, Fury? That's a man.
Right.
You know how much
Right.
the value, that's more valuable than gold. So it's like, yo, right? All right. Yo, anything when they come over here, anything Fury says is what's up. I want Fury to come pick me up. I want Fury been picking up the locks, and we go to all the lock show and Wu-Tang shows and all those type of things forever.
And you're opening for all of these shows.
Everyone, like. Because I'm the artist, right? I'm the artist for Supreme Jeans, so that's a no-brainer. So we started, and I'm just loyal to the core, where it's like, all right, we don't need to shuffle. It doesn't need to be Asun and I need to be the big face on the shit. Yo, just let's do it subtle. Let's just boom, Toronto's Asun on. A lot of the flyers, it's just my name on there. It's not my face.
Yeah.
I could call, yo, Fury's like, nah, I don't think we should do that. You should put your face. Yo, in time, we'll do that. Just taking it step by step. And when we, now it's just, now the crowd, what we've done for Toronto in the city, I can't walk outside right now in the city and someone's not, yo, Ace, I love what you do, man. Yo, this is my kids. This is, that the value of that is amazing. You know, I want the value in my pockets, but that is showing that we're making progress in that level.
So it's interesting because I watch you perform. You know what I'm saying? I performed a bunch of times, so I like to sort of analyze the situation.
Me too.
So you're kind of opening and extremely confident. You know what I'm saying? You're picking the right beats that's congruent with the music of the headliners, this and that. There's a lot of, and people get into that easily. There's a lot of people that know you, but it was a packed house. There's people that don't know you too, right?
100%.
I wanted to ask you this. Like, I feel you still have to work the crowd, right?
100%.
And I want to ask you how you feel. Like, we have all these legends come down. They deserve a hero's welcome. That's how classic hip hop should be treated. But what's going through your head? You're doing these shows day in and day out as a Toronto local, and you sort of still got to energize the crowd. Like, what goes through your head to win the crowd over?
I see. I don't really necessarily apply that to win the crowd over because I know Toronto. Like, I think I apply the win the crowd over somewhere where I'm not sure of. Like when I'm going, if I'm out in LA or something, like it's a different place, so I gotta really try. Naturally, you could just say, yo, you know, Scarborough, you can name some blocks and this in the house or whatever. But I think that where I'm at now, with the earlier shows, I was kind of doing stuff like that. But where I'm at now, it's like, yo, I'm getting the request. There's people coming. We're doing meet and greets, and people are like, yo, I pay for the meet and greet to see you. And this is the city I'm from. I think now it's just like, I just want to match the energy because I'm not trying to steal from the legends either. I just want to match the energy. So a lot of times they put me as the last opener before the headliners, right? That's exactly what it is. I'm the last opener before the headliners. There's been a couple shows where I was bringing out, I would just do one verse here and there and bring up a lot of Toronto guys and saying, yo, here's your shot, here's your shot, here's your chance, here's your chance. We did a lot of shows like that too. But then after doing that, a lot of people are like, yo, I just want to hear you. When are you going to give me a full set? And then I started working on sets and working things out. So like, as you only been to one, right?
I only been to one. I definitely got to see more. You know what I'm saying?
And so that one, I like did the Undertaker entrance with the Undertaker vibe, and I came out with that because I felt like it was really spooky, that energy, what we're dealing with, we're dealing with Mobb Deep. We're dealing with Steel. Like, we know that Tech and Steel, Smith & Wesson's going to come with that, the reggae type of hip hop, that type of energy too. And I know I've opened up for them in Quebec. I've opened up for them in Hamilton in the span of 3 or 4 years, right? So I know their like little pocket they get into, that thing they kind of don't change, and I know around it what they're gonna change. So I know what they're gonna do there. So I'm like, I'm gonna leave that because I have like a reggae thing
that
too,
energy,
so I'm gonna leave that over there.
Got it.
So I'm literally feeding off of exactly. The MOP was a whole different thing. When we had MOP, it's like, all right, now I need to get a little bit more. Yo, let's get it, like, it's grimy, but like, let's get a little more energy, not the low energy, a little bit more up tempo. You know what I mean? Because there's gonna be a lot of energy.
It's strange when some of the earlier openers, maybe one or something, will pick like some production that's like completely left
Yeah,
field to the
that's
headliner.
a, I hate that.
Yeah,
I absolutely hate that. We opened for me and Danielson opened for Cool G Rap in like 2018 or something.
yeah,
And whoever, no disrespect, who was throwing the show, that's what they
yeah,
do. But like all the openers didn't even, it didn't make any sense. So people were outside,
yeah.
and we're there, and then we came off the stage, and people are like, "Yo, why didn't they just make you guys be the opener? Why they put 10 other
Right.
guys that were doing fucking trap shit, drill shit, maritime shit?" I don't know what the fuck. There's all types of shit going on. I'm like, yo, this is just, it's not even a hate towards what they're doing. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't align.
Have you always been that confident of a performer on stage, or is that something that really took time to acquire?
I think that's basketball. Like, as long as I have it memorized, there's times where I'm not confident. Like early, I've made mistakes early where I didn't have my lyrics memorized.
Yeah.
And like look dumb in the face on stage, and I said I'll never have that happen. But I think naturally, performance-wise, I play ball, right? And ball is like that sport when you're in high school. If you fuck up, the whole crowd's laughing at you. I've been there.
Yeah.
So I've been there where you cross someone up and everyone's laughing at them. I like that type of energy of like that one-on-one energy.
Yeah.
So like, not to say that there's no nerves going on, but it fuels me. It doesn't really like take me back. It just makes me like, all right, it's time to go. You know, and what's 15 minutes? What's 15 minutes of life?
And you're performing at these shows once a month?
Yeah.
Or is that pretty much the frequency?
Once every month, every other month, once a month sometimes. Yeah, we did. Wow. I think we've done 4 every year of like the big stage of like 1,000 plus.
Yeah.
There's been 4 for the last 4 each year. Yeah, for 2024 and 2023.
Got it. So back to the music, man, and a little bit on your background, man. Obviously, I went digging in the virtual crates. Mm-hmm. One of your most impactful songs that just hits different is from your debut project, Nimbus, 5 Pounds Minimum.
Okay. You did 3
Are we okay if we talk about that?
Yeah, track? Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first I saw the video, and then I was going back through the Spotify, man. So very soulful production, but one of the main reasons it was impactful, I believe it's your dad doing the intro, right? Yeah. Papa P, as Papa you call him. Papa P. And I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but it's out there in the music. So are you okay if I sort of quote? Okay.
Quote it, bro.
So he's saying, you know, when he used to smuggle weed from Belize through Miami Customs, and he used his kids as decoys, I think primarily you, to sort of get them away from looking at the x-ray machine with the bag was passing through all that shit.
They used to say that I look like Webster. Webster was like a sitcom back in the day, and I actually like resembled Webster. Like I was a cute kid, you know. So that was always coming up was always like that cute kid over there, and he used that to his advantage.
Do you remember that stuff at all?
Like as the kid, like
when did you start realizing what was going on?
Because so you got to know that I came here. So I have to start from the start. My mom was born in Vancouver. She just happened to be right. My grandpa had a fucking business, something. He's a principal in Belize, and he had some conference in Vancouver, and he brought my grandma for this, and my grandma happened to have my mom. They left in 3 days. And another key note to that was like it was like the first black child born in Vancouver, whatever area they were in at that time. So that was like a crazy thing. We're talking 1963. So like they had her like on a picture of a newspaper or something. Like they're like they were calling her like a monkey. It's crazy. It's a crazy time when you think about stuff like that.
Right.
So now she never was raised in Canada. She's just Belizean.
Yeah.
I'm born. You know, she's 18, 19. And my dad is my dad. You hear that story right there. So imagine what he's doing. And my mom's like, yo, I just need an opportunity. And I have my Belize papers. A lot of Belizeans are in America, whether it's New York, LA, or Chicago, Texas too. They're over there on some illegal shit. They're not even there legally.
Right.
Most Belizeans. A lot of Belizeans get deported. She had that ticket. There's no Belizeans in Canada.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think up to this day there's like 100 and something Belizeans in Canada.
I only know 2 Belizeans. That's you and Shine.
That's it. And that's an American Belizean, and he's there, which is why he got deported, because he's there illegally. Right. And so when I'm over here, my mom knows nobody. She comes here as a child down there and says, "Yo, I'm gonna start my life. I don't care what you're doing." To my dad, you make your decision.
Yeah.
So my dad didn't come here till maybe my dad got in trouble with the law in Belize, and he's like, he wanted to flee what he was doing, so he came to Canada. That's why he came. So he
Right.
came over here when I guess it was Trudeau, the dad Trudeau was letting people in from the West Indies, right? So in the 80s and shit. So
Right.
my pops came over here, and we used to go back and yo, my dad used to drive with us to Belize from
You could
Canada.
drive to
Yeah,
Belize.
yes, you can, because
How
it's
long
not
does
an
that
island.
take? That's great.
He used to do it in 7 days with kids. If he didn't have us, he'd do it in 3.
Right.
My dad is a
Right.
madman, and I remember
Right. Right.
driving through. He picked his homie up at Houston, drive through fucking Mexico. When we get to Mexico, yo, it's no holds bar. I remember seeing in towns, no wall
Yo,
space.
this is before kids had smartphones to fucking keep them
Nothing.
occupied, bro.
No wall space in towns in Mexico, just literally collages of wanted posters.
No.
I remember being like,
I mean in the car, right? You have no
oh,
entertainment.
nothing, none. But that's how strict he was too. Like, yo, no,
Yeah.
my dad only took me looks. Like, yo,
Yeah.
my dad is a physical beast too.
Right.
He's into his bodybuilding shit. He's in his steroid bag and shit.
Right.
Yo, no games. You don't
Right.
want it from my dad.
Right.
So when we used to go over there, it's best behavior, and we just be going. It just be me and my sister going with my pops. Like, what is really going on? You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
7. I'm starting to put shit together really. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh damn. We meet his homie. We go and he'd go and get checked in by some people like with big guns that aren't authority, and he'd be paying money over there, and they'd be looking at his passport, and he's paying money. I'm just seeing all the things happening. I'm like, this is a different lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
And then you come back and money would be good, and then all of a sudden things would be good, you know? Like we'd have stuff. We'd have a lot more stuff than we had before. We'd still not, because he's not North American, he didn't apply the ethics. He didn't know where to, yo, it's time to buy a house. That's something they always talked about. Like, yo, there's a time in that neighborhood we could have bought it for 40,000. I had that in cash.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know what to do. And those are the mistakes that you kind of have, like I could hear now that I can't make now, right?
Yo, my parents made the same in terms of properties, the same mistakes.
Tons
bro.
of them. So it was like
I know about
those type of things. So then now when it comes down to when I started making my moves, is like, who else am I talk to?
Yeah.
My dad, right? So my dad
Yeah.
just kind of like always was the prime person to teach me stuff. Like, all right, you're gonna go this way. I don't want you to, but here, here's how you do it.
I'm gonna quote a bar from that song to add a stamp on what you're saying, man. So you're like, I was fashioned as a youngster. Father had a passion and a hunger.
Okay.
He could quote the pastor and the hustler. He could mix the plaster of the drugs up. I see that to show you fucks the cast that I come up from. You know what I'm saying? So
I love that you chose that. See, those are things I don't even really remember off the top, but now that you say it, yo, it's one. My dad would be heavy into church all of a sudden. Billy Graham, like no secular music for a whole year, and then the next year he'd be busting out, and then the next year, when I'm like 18 to 19, no, maybe a little older, like 22 and 23, it'd be like, yo, let's party. Yo, you got a line? Like the diversity of life, the imbalance of life, like this is how the world like this is how a human is. That's why I made the complex. It's not the complex of a building complex. It's complexity.
Did you inherit that, or did you learn from that?
I inherited a lot of it, unfortunately. But I'm trying to correct some things, and I'm trying to keep some things. Some things is beautiful, right? So I inherited a lot, and I see it in my son already. It's scary.
Well, I wanted to ask you. You have a kid now, and obviously you reflect on growing up. I'm sure a lot. Is it wild thinking back now that you have a kid?
Wild, bro. It's so. They say when you're never, they say you're never really ready when you think you are. And I thought I'm like, yo, this is as ready as I'm gonna be. This is something. It went from a thing where you're trying to like, all right, I don't need that, to like, I really want this, to, is this gonna happen? And I had to deal with that emotion. Me and my wife dealt with that emotion, and we thought it wasn't. We came to a thing where it's like, yo, we're married. We beat the statistics. I want to do that. I didn't want to, just a baby mom. This is why we're doing things. No, let's beat the statistics. This is what we're rocking. We're rocking. Yeah. And it was something that we kind of decided, like, okay, if this doesn't happen, we have to be okay with. And then God gave that. because my wife was on some let's try alternative
Oh,
measures, and
wow. Okay.
faith wise, I didn't really believe in that. I was like, I can't, and that kind of hurt our relationship a little bit. But hey, God knows the plan, and you stick to it, bro.
Yeah, man. Oh, congrats, bro. Congrats.
Thank you.
So yeah, and for you know what, I don't want to like drag this out. Me, I grew up on the same street, 30 years of my life, 3 apartment buildings, bro. The first 30 years. I know you've moved around, bro. Different lifestyle. Can you let people know what you're like in Toronto or the
Yeah,
ends? You know what I'm saying? What your life was like growing up?
I envy you, bro. I envy my wife. She has the same thing as you. Like I said, came here 2 years old. We moved a lot. I think moving has given me PTSD. I have trauma moving, packing, minimal lifestyle because of it. I've given away probably things that are worth a fortune now because I've moved so much. Because anytime I get stuff, I like get it out of here, right?
Yeah.
Besides shoes, shoes is the one thing I love that I'll always keep. But yeah. So we came out here. We lived in Malvern. Um, by 4, we moved to like VP in Eglinton, which is like still east end of the city, still in Scarborough. I went to like probably 2 schools in that area. I went to Precious Blood and some bullshit my dad came through and fucking snapped on that spot. And then because we were fresh out here, we didn't know about Ontario housing and how bad it was. And my parents are proud people, right? Even though they're struggling, they don't want a handout, right?
Yeah.
And they had me getting babysat by like a crackhead, and she poured soup on my neck,
Shit.
and my dad went almost murdered this fucking woman and her family. It was nuts. So that caused us to move more. We went to from after that, Precious Blood. I went to Sloan. Then I went after Sloan. They moved me back to Belize. They said, okay, you're gonna live with your grandma in Belize. So I went to St. Joseph out in Belize for 1 year. Came back. They were in Whitby. I went to a school in Whitby for 6 months,
Holy
and then they
shit.
moved back to Scarborough. And Scarborough, we went to Dower, which is where Fury's from, in 10 Stonehill. And I went to North Bradwood. North Bradwood,
Crazy, man.
I was there for a couple years, and this was a turning point. So and mind you, these are all like poverty type of places. I have both parents, but we're living all through poverty places.
Yeah.
Co-ops would be the highest level if it not housing, right? So we're in spots in Dow where my grandma on my dad's side comes to our crib, and my grandma's staying with us, and we ordered double. And my dad, I'll never forget this. My dad puts the pizza on the table, and we come back like for like 2 minutes, come back, open the pizza, and there's cockroaches all over the pizza.
Shit.
And my grandma, who's very like, she raised 8 kids. Like she's tough, she's strong. She's the only one that kind of would travel around to see her grandkids and shit. Out of all my grandparents, she just started just tear, like a gangster tears, just coming out, looking at my dad like, this is what you left Belize for? You could do this in Belize, you know? And I think that kind of like fucked up my dad. And at the same time, now a week later, my dad's going downstairs, and the lady downstairs like, yo, if you don't move your kid out of here, your kid's gonna die just like this kid in the garbage can right now. They just found a kid in the garbage dump. And the irony of all this stuff, that place, is that me and Fury were living in the same place, and Fury's
Right.
10 years older than me,
Right.
and he's causing the drama when I'm in like grade 5, right? So anyway, I digress. We move from there and we go to a co-op. So what happens is there's a Belizean family that they knew from back in Belize that ended up living out here, and they found a new co-op building in Richmond Hill called Berwick Crescent.
Right.
And this co-op, it's still a co-op, but it had a lot of people from the West End. This is the only time I didn't live in the East. Had a lot of people living on the West End, but there was no opposition neighborhood. So it was the co-op, this is the most influential place I lived in the city. The co-op had so much flavor, like it was all Jamaicans and shit, but like I say flavor because there's a lot of New York people even that were living in the co-op, and people that were like displaced. It was all like, Western Road people, like all people from the West, Finch people.
I think there's a lot of people from America that wouldn't think that Canada can get this grimy, as you're describing
Very grimy.
your upbringing.
And this place in Berwick had this big basketball court and this big park, and a lot of the people would come to the is one way in, one way out. But around it, surrounding it, there's a lot of Jewish and Arab people that were rich. So it was very strange. So it caused the community
that's how Richmond Hill is for sure.
And it made the community very tight knit. So we were really tight knit, and then the people from New York were bringing all these flavors and bringing clothes and bringing style. And then we had 5%ers on the block. So I learned 5%ers. I learned lessons in grade 7 from this block, which I don't think happened at many places. And this area had middle schools. So, you know, I left grade 6. We moved there, like at the end of grade 6, my parents put me in the school there. And I did 1 week there. And I remember I got in a fight the first week. And I did a track meet and I won track stuff. And then grade 7 came and I was down there like a Berwick kid and rocking with the Berwick kids. And we were separate and we go there and we're dominating sports. And then there's a middle school you go to. Then grade 8 was back to real Berwick. It's such a weird dynamic. It felt American. And that made me, I think that's my core. Like the hip hop we're listening to was straight Wu-Tang. That whole block was Wu-Tang.
Right.
That whole block was Lessons. That whole block was different. So even when my parents now, so after that neighborhood, my dad, it was the first time my dad had a real job and my mom had a job at the same time. And they ended up getting the money together. My dad was working at basically a GM subsidiary in Ajax called Lear. And they're starting to get money and they bought their house when I was in grade 9. And they moved, and it lasted 1 year. And they had to sell the house because things kind of just didn't work out. But I say that to say that 1 year, I cried tears leaving that block. And then I remember over the summer, I'd stay my whole summer over there. I wasn't trying to be in Pickering because they moved to Pickering. I wasn't trying to be in Pickering. I wasn't trying to do that. And that gave me a lot of independence because I'm staying with my people. Like I'd be in 18D, I'm staying at my 18C folks, people that over there the whole summer, like not with my family. It just created a monster at the same time, but an independent one.
I would imagine that made you like a master at networking.
Yes,
that whole experience.
Super. I started working at Wonderland the next summer. Just buying shit and loving money and start hustling now, flipping that. I want to flip this fast. And now you're meeting all these people and I'm always the youngest. Every time I'm the youngest. Every time. With the most independence. So it's like, all right, now boom, now we're gonna do this. I got pagers. Bro, there's so much little stories in between of like just dumb shit that could have just went left. Went left.
So you got bars where you say your dad really wanted, like, if this is what you wanted to do, your dad encouraged it. I think that's pretty fucking cool, you know what I'm saying? Because my parents didn't understand this shit whatsoever, man. Is that still a driving force for you at all at this point?
It is. It is cool.
That, or
it sounds cooler than this because my dad's still a disciplinarian,
right?
Coming up,
right.
But once he saw he lost me because he kicked me out at 16, 17. Once he saw. And we had it was terrible relationship from 14 to 17, which feels like an eternity when you're that. Well, maybe longer, 14, maybe 20. But the 17 to 20 years was based on me because I had a hatred that I'm not coming around. I'm gonna show him up, you know?
Yeah.
And then when shit starts getting bad for me, or not getting bad, like when I start showing what I'm doing, because now it's like, what are you gonna tell me? He's like, oh yeah, that's what you're doing? Yo, let me see your coat. That's shit. This is shit. What you're doing is shit.
Right.
Your operation is shit.
Right.
Like, what? All right. So what is and so that we got a dope relationship, young, but it still has integrity inside it. As crazy as it sounds. It's still integrity.
Right.
So it's like, yo, I don't want you to do this. Don't get me wrong. Rap, he'd love that because, yo, at least you're chasing something that's honorable. I'm still paying my own bills, so it's not coming out of his pocket, right? I was living, I haven't paid rent since 14 because he said, if you're going to be bad, you're going to pay rent. $200 a month at 14, $400 a month at 15. 16, I fucking bought everything in my crib. I bought fucking, I had like PlayStation 2. I had like a 50 disc changer. I had all this type of shit, locks on my door. And 16, I got caught for fucking stealing from a local convenience store. I robbed. It's a long story, but I stole it. They had to move out the community because it was so bad,
Right.
and all the realization came through. He had enough at that point, right?
Right.
So he's like, "Yo, all right, yo." I'm like, "Well, in reality though, I was already paying $500-600 a month. We would have
That's
did better as
from
a
doing regular work, like regular working or hustling. The
both. I was doing
PS2 and
both.
all that shit.
I was doing both, but mostly
Got
hustling. But like
yeah.
making $8 an hour, like I
Yeah.
mean, you're not gonna get all
Yeah.
that. I had wads of money. I wasn't going to school. There was a time I made my mom cry showing her 20 bands in a box. I wanted the Honda Accord from Baby Boy. She was trying to entice me to get a license. She's like, "You're not getting your license? Like, why aren't you?" I'm like, "I don't care. I take cabs everywhere. Like, I don't need a license."
So
And she's like, "If you get your license, I'll go half for you on a car." I said, "You know what? Yo, I don't even need you to go half for me on a car. Just pay the tax for this car." And I show her the car and she starts laughing. She's like, "That car's like 25,000." I was
right.
like, "Yeah, here's 25,000. Here it is." She
Right.
just started crying because she knew in her heart. And then shortly after, I got caught with the convenience store shit, and it was just like a mess. It turned into a mess. So yeah, I created a lot of this problem.
So my understanding, if I take your lyrics at face value right now, you have your properties, you own businesses, shit like
Right,
that. You're doing well without music. That's a
right,
fair statement.
right, for sure.
If you weren't as comfortable as you are, would you be pursuing music? There's some people that just like
No,
they
no,
go all in on music.
no, I wouldn't. Because it wouldn't be it wouldn't this is where my logic is in. I have a lot of logic. That's also my dream killer within me, my logic. It doesn't big risks because of how I'm raised. My parents took risks and it never panned out
Yeah,
how
yeah,
they wanted. I'm scared to take big risks. Like even right now with the couple condos I got, I could get a house right now and I don't want to because I'm like I just want to own everything
yeah.
and I'm
Outright.
happy with that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy with
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
now it just limits you with what you really could be growing to, you know? So like I have my own little challenges and hey, all I know is that everything is a purpose for
Yeah.
it and I'm growing within that purpose, but I definitely know I wouldn't be rapping if I wasn't stable.
Truth is, if I didn't have some solid ground in my life, I probably wouldn't even be doing
Do
this
this.
too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I appreciate artists that put it on the
Yeah.
art, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
That creates
there's a
maybe
few
a
ways to
more
do it.
hunger.
You can
Mm.
work like jobs you don't like and
Right.
hate, and just your escape is your art. You're banking on the art,
Right.
or you know what I'm saying? You actually do it the other way, man. You love this
Right.
shit, but you've acquired enough that now you can do
Yeah.
it comfortably. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and that's why I started later. And there's parts of that because I will. Yeah, you're talking the facts. You're saying everything that I would
Right.
waste your time saying.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
So you got songs about getting shot.
Hmm.
I think you made a banger out of that, and he shot me. That's off your 2019
Oh, yeah,
Danger is My Ally. I
yeah.
like that too, and I'm probably gonna throw it on my playlist.
Oh, that's fire.
Um,
Stepped on.
where were you at in life when that happened, and how does getting shot change you as a person?
So that was 2008, 83. So I was 25 years old. Um, I had acquired a house in Scarborough, a bungalow, beautiful home, beautiful home. I was actually doing the craziest time in my life though, like doing the most. That this is all a lot of these raps of my grimy shit, like the hustling shit, comes from that period of my life when I wasn't rapping.
Right.
So so I was making money, buku money. And it's funny how God deals with someone that he loves because I didn't even get shot because of that. I got shot as a precursor to say, yo, you better change now. I know everything that happens to me in threes. And this is where my logic happened. God gives me three shots at
Mm.
changing, three warnings, whether it's a car accident, whether it's some fucked up shit that I didn't deserve. Nope. Every time it's something I can't control. Three warnings.
It's always threes,
It's always
like clockwork.
three, like
That's
clockwork.
crazy.
And if
Right.
I go over the third, the fourth is the closest one. And this one, I remember I was denying the third. I was looking up the day before I got shot. I was looking at a GT Bentley. I was about to buy a Bentley. It was like a $60,000 car. I have this shit. It was a used one. So at that time, it was 60,000 for a used Bentley, like a 2017 Bentley in 2020, 20. Oh no, 2000. It was a 2007 Bentley, sorry, 2006 Bentley. So 2-year-old Bentley, 63, 70,000, something like that. And I went and got this tattoo on my neck. Voy a ser el mundo. So basically it says I'm in this world, so I'm gonna be of this world. It's crazy. I'm just getting goosebumps right now. So my friend the same day came over with the that DVD that came out where they're showing people getting murdered and shit. Something Faces or something like that. I forget the name of it. Faces of Death.
Yeah.
Faces of Death. I remember my place was a spot that everyone could come and vibe and chill. Like it was just a spot. Like the homies, it was the spot. I'm the only one that had a house. Imagine having a house, a bungalow, big ass basement. It's not even real.
At that age, I can't imagine, to be honest.
Can't imagine.
Yeah,
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
And I used to have like parties, and mind you now, my little sister, who is 3 years difference, now we're getting to the age where we're partying together. You know what I mean? 24. I'm 25. She's 22. You know what I mean? So her friends, she always hung out with baddies and stuff. Like, it's like, all right, we're all going to party. We all come through at the night, all that type of stuff. So it was really cool. And her boyfriend was a dude from Regent Park, and he had stuff going for him to a point, but shit fell apart. But because we weren't in communication, and I didn't know, my sister's scared to tell me things going on because she knew what my reaction would be. So what happened was they broke up at some point. My dad almost killed him, actually, put a knife to him like the day before. But within my life, I was doing a lot of moving around, and I got in an accident. I happened to be home because I was like, when I'm hustling, when I was making the most money, I kept a job. I kept a job too at the same time, like something that actually could show from I always had my accountant.
Right.
Always. Ram, what up? Ram has been my accountant.
I imagine your dad schooled you on some of this shit, obviously.
I'm talking accountant, 20 years old, having an accountant. Who the fuck has that? So I always knew, like, yo, you can't show this type of money here. You got to do something to this so you're not hot. So I felt like I had everything manipulated and masterminded. And I got in an accident. I lost this job that I was keeping, whatever. But like, I didn't lose it. I just said, fuck it. Like, yo, you know how much more money I'm making than you guys? Like, the person that's trying to discipline me is like, I'm making way more money than you. I'm running out of the job doing certain things, and it's crazy. So I happened to be suspended from the job. I didn't lose it yet. I happened to be suspended because I'm fucking around. And I hear a knock at my door. And no one comes. As much as it was a hangout spot, no one comes to my door and knocks that I don't know. That I know. It'd have to be someone I don't know that's knocking at my door. Right. So I'm there, I'm looking, I'm like, who the fuck is knocking? And the bungalow, the kitchen's on the main floor, right by the front. So I'm like, I look, I'm like, yo, Aki. His name was Aki. I'm like, yo, what are you doing here? This guy has, yo, bro, tears in his eyes. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? He's like, yo, I'm gonna move to Edmonton. My family moved to Edmonton. Your sister broke up with me, man. I'm sorry. Da da da. I'm like, yo, calm down. Like, calm down. I'm cooking food. I'm like, yo, come inside. He comes inside, and this guy friggin' loads up the shit. He friggin' takes out the shit, and he's looking at me, and he's like, yo, I just need to do something, because he had like a basketball scholarship. He lost that, all types of shit. And he's like, yo, man, I'm trying to do this world. I'm like, yo, I take the gun from him. I'm like, yo, this is not you. This is not who you are. Right. And where did you get this? Right. Like, what's going on? Because that'd be something he'd ask me for if really he's done it before. And I'd be like, yo, nah, like, this is not how you're built. And he showed me. So I remember taking it apart, looking, pulling out. There's one in the head. I'm like, this guy's wilding. I put it back, boom, give it back to him. Like, yo, just have some food, go downstairs in the basement, chill out. This is August, so it's hot as fuck. I remember one of the hottest summers, 2008. So boom, go downstairs, feed him. Yo, all types of shit. He was there for all types of time. I fell asleep. I get a knock. So watch this. My homie, though, was at my crib. We're looking for a place to buy for storage. Because things are just moving different. And we're going to move my cousin into this place. So now we're researching the place. My cousin ends up coming, a girl cousin, which is obviously close with my sister, because we're going to put her in the place, but we want to make sure she likes the place. But we just have it as a storage place. she comes downstairs, greets us, and she's like, what? She says, Aki. She goes back upstairs. She calls me on my phone, like, yo, come upstairs. I come upstairs. She's like, yo, why is this guy here? He's a fucking psychopath. Get him out of here. I'm like, yo, chill. I know he's going through some shit, but she knew more than me. So I'm like, yo, don't worry. He's all right. He's down there. He's chilling. So they're up. It's split level, right? So they're at the back on the computer. Where the computer was upstairs. Boom. Fucking. There's a time where they come like, yo, Ace, we're gone. And she just says, bye. So now, 20, 30 minutes later, fucking this guy, I'm sitting on a couch over here, laying on a couch. He's sitting on a one-seater couch, and he has a gun in his pocket, and he's just aiming it for me. And he fucking, all I hear is bang. I'm changing the channel on the TV.
Right.
Bang.
Right.
Boom. My hand just goes off. I'm like, what the fuck? I look at my arm. Like, I have the wound over here. I look at my arm, just fucking blood.
For no apparent reason? For no clear reason?
What I thought was no reason. Bam. Blood going everywhere. My cousin runs down. Oh my God. She's running down. She's like, yo, you shot my cousin? Yo, he stood up with the shit pointed at me at this moment. If she didn't run downstairs, he just went over there and started pointing at her. So now she runs up. She runs out of the house. I hear one shot go off. Fucking the door. So I go upstairs because I got to go defend myself because I don't know what the fuck is going on. As I'm going upstairs, he's coming back. And he has it right on me. Yo, this is a guy that called me brother just 20 minutes ago, always admired me. I seen his face go from like a face I've never seen, like a devil, demonic, fucking scrunched up face, to pointing at me like this. I'm looking at him in his eyes, and he says to me, sorry. And he goes like this. He gives me the gun. So I digress from where this story goes from after that. And then boom, luckily, it's such a long thing that ends up happening. It's so much happening. But I'll say this. That like him dropping to the blood everywhere, cops coming, pointing guns at me, get on the fucking ground. Yo, there's coke in my house. There's all types of shit happening in my world at this moment. And I'm just going in Bayview Hospital and I'm looking at the lights and I'm like, my life is over. But this story would be another 2 hours if I explain how everything goes, whatever. But just know God got me.
Yeah.
And I took that as a sign to say, all right, let me get out of here. Sold that place, went to Belize for like 3 or 4 months, and then fucking came back and met my wife. I bought a condo out here, met my wife, probably like maybe 8 months after that. And we weren't serious at the start, but I say that to say that's when life changed. And my circle kind of went slower because a lot of people, it's funny, a lot of people are telling, yo, don't make this change you. Yo, you could still go hard. Like, yo, what am I going hard for? What am I going hard for? I'm going hard still. I'm not going to not want to get money. But why are you telling me this? Why are you scared? Are you depending on me to be this person? And those type of things is just like unbelievable, bro. It makes you think, like, and a lot of those people talking like that aren't nowhere close to me anymore.
When you look back on all this, how happy are you this stuff, I guess, is in the rear
view? In reflection now, because I don't reflect on it as much as I did maybe within the first 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But like in reflection, whenever I do get the chance, that's why I hate, because I'll talk about it. And some people that really love me will be like, you're saying too much. But it's done. That's a past thing, so it's easy for me to talk about. But
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I mean, that's a wild life. I would call it a lot to draw from in terms of like music.
Yeah.
So to tie it back to the music, your project, your debut project, Nimbus, how long were you strategizing on that, and where were you at in life? Because you had Conway the Machine on there, Sky Zoo, Daniel Son, Family Gang, Black. You got quality videos. How long were you strategizing on that, and how far removed was that from events like that? You know what I'm saying?
That's 2016, so literally 8 years. So this is the funny part. There's no strategy. The only reason I did that was to say, yo, I'm just going to do one album. I haven't done an album in my life. I want to do one. And then pieces started folding in where it started happening. And like I said, I had paper. So this is what happened. After 2009, 2010, it's like, all right, so what am I going to do with this money? What am I going to do with it? How am I going to make this without having to depend on this as the main income? So, we started doing some barbershop shit. And then I said, you know what? My dude, Uncle Doe, salute Doe, he was doing like would be called a podcast now, but it was like a radio, but digital radio in them times called Read to Rap. There's a program called Read to Rap in Scarborough. And
Right.
he's like, yo, you should go get your social, like, because I've always been within my badness, I always been a communitarian. I never had the intent to kill. I had ethics within everything. I wouldn't sell to certain things, certain people, certain neighborhoods, certain things.
Right.
I literally probably sold 95% to old white guys.
Right. Right.
And that's where my dad comes in, right?
Right.
So his community. So if you put that way, it's like, yo, it's different than The Wire or some. It's not like that. It wasn't like that. It was very set up. So I'm involved in
every lifestyle has a code of ethics.
Yeah, a code. And I was like, all right, so what are we gonna do? And I talked to before she was my wife, I talked to my mom, like, yo, you should go to school. Because my mom got cancer, and at 30 years old, my mom went into remission. But 28, when it wasn't looking so good, when I was 28, she's like, yo, you never finish high school, and that's one thing that I hate. Just please finish high school for me. Just promise me.
Right.
So I went to continue my education, and in that moment, I was with teachers, and here it is, my pen. It was my pen. I was in there's like a social class, there's an English class. I wrote a book. I wrote a book report about the Holocaust. It was about the Holocaust, and I wrote that, and the teacher was like, yo, and I remember it was kind of controversial, and how I explained it, she's like, yo, this is incredible work. This is like university level work.
Right.
A lot of people, it's like, I see you in the school. You're very influential in the school.
Were you big on reading at all on your own time?
100%.
Right.
100%. All the time. That's instilled by my mom. Reading is mandatory.
Right.
Coming up. Like, I'm not just some nigga out here dumb. Like, I've been instilled with all these things. So I'm here, and she's like, yo, I would strongly suggest you think about college, university, because you're wasting this. And you have a story, because I tell my story. They're talking like I'm freshly shot. So when they're asking you to say something about yourself, like that story grabs anyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all these things, and I'm like, all right, let me apply to school then. Let's do social work. And I went to Centennial on my own bread, not like how if I would have did school if I finished high school and then went to school.
This was just to make your mom happy? Pretty much
first.
Right.
And I got my high school. I finished the high school, and then after it's like, yo, what am I doing?
Right.
Let's really just try and do something. But I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, because my mom's an entrepreneur, my dad's an entrepreneur. Even when they worked jobs, they had their own business, like just little small businesses. So my mom still has a small business. So when I saw that, I'm like, all right, I hear social work has no money in it. So you know what? Let's do, and that's where Doe comes in with the Read to Rap, and let's do this. Yo, take that class, go do that. Go see what you love about it. If you love it, and I put up my money, I got my social service work certificate and fucking in college at Centennial, and then boom, I kind of started to apply that. But then Doe was like, yo, you know what I think you should do? You should rap, bro. I'm like, what? You told me I need to do this social service work, and then you're telling me I should rap. He's like, you're one of the best. You have an amazing story. Everything about you fits a rapper. Why don't you want to rap? And then 2016 is Toronto All-Star Game and all these things, and he's like, yo, just come out with me. And I come out, and I meet Sway. I'd meet people, and he put me on to Westside Gun, and he put me on to all these other music.
Meeting them in Toronto?
No, not me.
Or you're going down there?
Just hearing the music.
Oh, okay.
I met Sway in Toronto. But I hear the music. He's putting me onto the music of these guys.
Yeah.
So, and he's like, yo, Sky Zoo. And I remember I heard Rock Marcy already, and I knew Rock Marcy. I'm like, okay, yo, this is crazy. And I'm like, yo, what do you think it costs to get these guys on a joint? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, and then Bozak had his one already. It's
very reasonable, man. I've come to learn this shit is very reasonably priced, man.
Yeah. And that's where, at that time, it was like, yo, I hit Bozak. Bozak's like, yeah, those guys are cool. I'll just send you the email or whatever. Like, just hit them up. It's not like he gave me an inside. He's like, yo, just hit them up. Yeah. This is kind of the number they gave me. I don't know if they'll give you that, but bam. And I hit Conway up first, and I was like, yo, first, I want to know you fuck with the music, because I'm not just going to give you money just to get money. yo, do you fuck with this? Here's 3 joints. If you fuck with one of them, I'll pay you
Mm.
for a verse. And he's like, yo, I fuck with 3 of them. I was like, okay, so what do you want? I'm not gonna say the number, but it was stupid. And I was like, all right, cool. And
Yeah.
Doe's a 5 percenter, so Doe already had the inside with Sky Zoo, and at the time I was just on the blogs. I'd see Danielson on the blogs. I'd see this Canadian guy. I'd be like, who's this? Why is this guy
Yeah.
fucking
I want to
from
talk
the
to you about
city?
that connection.
From
Yeah.
the city, and
Go ahead.
I don't know him. And who's this? So I started researching that, and then I was like, yo, where you at? At the time, I was driving a Jag, and I was fucking like, all right, I'm gonna pull up. And there's just you see how you're saying like, yo, your social skills or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
my networking, I always been that guy,
I
but not overdoing it. Like I just know when to pick my spots. Like in a neighborhood, I might know 5 people per neighborhood, but I'll know the one of those 5 that is a real person. That person is serious to the whole
the the
neighborhood. So the whole neighborhood might not know.
the decision maker.
Yes,
You
the
get
whole
to the
neighborhood might
decision
not know
maker.
me, but that
Right.
one guy does. So I can go to
Right.
that neighborhood
Yeah.
easily. And that one guy does. That's always been my talent. That's it.
Because if you look at your catalog, you put in a lot of work with Danielson. I would have guessed you know yourself before music, but
Right.
obviously you didn't,
No,
right?
it's just straight music.
Um, yeah, man. So I wanted to ask you where were you at Danielson Future Wave when you guys first linked up? So I wasn't there in real time. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So where were you guys at in art and life? I mean, I'm sure you're in different places, but can you kind of sum up
Yeah,
where
so
where everyone was at?
Danielson was the guy that was really probably cooking more. I didn't know that until I met him, that he already like was getting, I guess, the underground wave. Like he already does stuff with Ito. I didn't know who Ito was. I didn't know the people who he was doing stuff with. I didn't know who they were.
You weren't tapped
I
in
wasn't
like that the whole
tapped in,
time,
not at
right?
all, until I met Danielson about those specific like crate division, Diallo Point
Right,
and all these guys, right?
right.
I didn't know who they were, that they had established a thing, but I kind of already jump started because of those people. They were trying to chase, not trying to chase per se, but like the at the time the pinnacle still was Griselda was kind of making the most noise, Like I
Yeah,
guess it would be Sean Price, but Sean Price is already dead. Rock Marcy is kind of the most untouchable at that time. But
yeah.
now I'm already at the forefront of a name because I already got Conway and those guys on shit. So without me knowing, I'm playing in this game that I didn't even know was a
Right.
game, right? So it
You
was
sort of
really
stumbled into it.
stumbled into it.
Right.
It's just me trying to do an album, and organically everything kind of just came
Because
together.
your homies are telling you
Right.
you should be doing it.
I did the Conway songs before I met Danielson,
Right, right,
right? But like not release them. I just did them
right.
already. So I was trying to cook up some stuff, and I was just dropping singles here and there, singles, everything. I dropped the Conway single before that came out, before my album came out. So I had 3 of them, and I just spread them out on albums later. But so Danielson was kind of like really more in depth with having a fan base, I guess you could say, because he's already doing stuff in Europe with Europe guys and all that stuff. Future Wave though had hit me up first. I don't know, maybe he hit up Danielson, but I responded to him first, and he sent me a beat pack, and that was had Summers Fucking Over, and I recorded on that at Solitaire. I was recording by Solitaire Studio, Toronto rappers.
Toronto legend. Yeah.
Yes, and boom, I recorded at that his studio, and he's there like, yo, what the fuck is this? I've never seen nothing like that. And at that time, that's kind of us getting on Cardi's radar. It was just my verse though. I
Yeah.
send it to Future Wave, and I tell Future Wave, yo, I talked to Danielson. I don't know if you want to get Danielson on this. If you mind if I send it to him? He's like, yo, I've been wanting to connect with Danielson. That's what he's telling me. So I was like, okay, well then I'll send it to Danielson and see if he fucks with it. And Danielson's like,
Oh, go ahead.
Danielson's like, yeah, this is hard. And then from that point though, when you look at the relationship, they kind of created their own relationship from that time. But we all just met at Summers Fucking Over. I mean, I knew Danielson already, but Future Wave just met Danielson at Summers Fucking Over video.
What
And
what was it about you guys that made you guys click? Was it just the music in the beginning, or was there
it's
something
just
more than
simple. Like
that?
this is the thing. I think Danielson's younger, right? So he's probably in his 30s, 33, mid 30s, around there. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm 40, 41. I'm 41. He's 33,
Yeah.
34.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. I think that maybe I'm influential a little bit because we're rolling around. and
yeah,
he has young energy and vibes, and he's raw, and it was just like a fun. We go kick it out, drink, have just vibes and rap. It was simple.
yeah,
It wasn't really nothing more to that. And he kind of reminded me of someone I grew up with a little bit, and I'd bring my homies around, be like, yo, and then he'd start getting shows and be like, hey, so you want to come to the show in New York? I'm always
yeah,
down. I'm the guy that's
yeah,
like, all right, I'm gonna pull up. That's the thing. Like I won't ever say something and not do it. I'm gonna pull up. So really, I created opportunity myself without trying to be an. I wasn't trying to be an opportunist.
yeah,
It was something that was coming up for him. Like, yo, I got a show in
yeah.
Jersey with Crime Apple. I got
I
this. I'm
read
like, all
about
right,
that. I heard about
yeah,
that. I saw some shit about that.
I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah,
That's just me coming with Danielson. That's Danielson shit. That's
yeah,
not nothing to really do with me. So, and then when I did have certain opportunities, I'd bring him too. Like it's kind of vice versa, but he was already instilled over here.
yeah.
So it was simple as that. And then at a time we were recording at this spot that Future Wave had up, and it just became meeting time. Like everyone would link up, like down to Gold Era too. Finn and them had their
How,
own spot.
how known was Future Wave at that time? Was he relatively unknown, or you
Unknown,
guys sort of
I would
all
say
came
he's
up
unknown.
together kind of at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time?
I'd say he's unknown. The most known would be in this thing
Yeah,
would be Danielson.
right.
Future Wave
So
unknown is me.
so that 2020 album, Bite the Bullet, I watched another interview. I think it was Desk of Low. Great interview.
For
You have a
sure.
lot of good interviews, man.
Low's great.
But you talked about the cover of that and the hydro towers being in the cover behind the dude with the mask.
Yeah,
That's representative of what you see in Scarborough. So
it is.
my wife is from Scarborough, from Midland and
Right.
Danforth.
Ah,
When I met her and I started going out there, I fucking noticed that shit. I'm like, I see that shit over subdivisions too, and I'm
yeah,
like, this
that
can't
should
be
be.
healthy.
It can't be at all. Fucking Birchmount. If you go down Birchmount and fucking, you're going in between friggin', let's say, Birchmount and Lawrence. You're driving down Birchmount and you're
Right.
passing over Lawrence. You're passing over friggin' Eglinton. You're passing over in between Ellesmere and Lawrence. You're passing over all these places. In between, you're just seeing rows of this shit, and people be playing out there and shit. It's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's just that's exactly what it looks like. Literally,
So
can't be
so
healthy.
Cardi gave you guys a verse. I know he reached out to you guys and shit like that. Did he drop any gems on you, man? Like that stick to this day? Anything
Yeah,
notable, man?
yeah.
How that came
Like I said,
together?
it's even funny because the Solitaire thing was kind of like a prequel to the Cardi thing because Solitaire was in Cardi's ear. Like, yo,
Right,
there's this guy that comes to my studio that's on some Wu-Tang shit and you should plug in. Right. But from what I know a bunch of people that know Cardi personally.
right.
And they tell me, like, I've been telling them about you a long time, but the one thing they told me about Cardi is like Cardi's gonna do it on his own time. You can't really tell him nothing.
Yeah,
And he's gonna figure it out on his own time. So when he figured us out, he's like, the people around him that knew me was like, yo, I was telling you about this guy. Like, like, okay.
yeah,
So it kind of also happened organically, and then we got that verse. He plugged in, and at the time, Cardi, this is a little bit before COVID, and at the time, Cardi was on his thing. I don't know where he's at professionally, but like he was doing some stuff with Universal, and he's just talking to us about situation, maybe having a situation, just early brainstorming talks. And yeah, and through the grapevine, I don't, you know what? I'm on my vulnerable shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say some shit that might ruffle feathers, but I don't care.
all right.
At the time, Cardi, we had some conversations.
I just want to frame this for those that don't know. Cardinal Fisher, most of you probably know him, but he's like one of the biggest
All right,
MC names we have out of Toronto, man. So
right,
yeah,
right. So at the time, Cardi set up like a, a Zoom talk with me, Danielson, and him. This is like after he already gave us a feature, right? And he's just talking about business. And
right.
this is like after me and Danielson's relationship kind of got rocky a little bit after the shooting in the club, right? I just didn't like how that shit happened. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like how it was talked about. I didn't like it at all. That's on me. Maybe my approach was bad, but at the same time, there's ownership he needed to take on that I felt like he wasn't taking on to how things went that night. All right. So I digress about that. I'm not going to get into that. But I was really not happy about that. And when we had this conversation, my man Danielson was a lot on that type of energy still. And it just didn't rub me right. And then come after, and I don't care if this is how people get blackballed or whatever. behind the curtains is bullshit anyway. We make our own curtains, first of all. Second of all, Cardi, I get from the grapevine from the man, like, yeah, Cardi, he could tell you're the smart one, and the other guy's a little bit. He's the dangerous one, I guess. I'm laughing. I'm like the dangerous one, but anyway, friggin', I laugh about it because the energy you bring to people could decide what energy people are going to give you. You can still
Oh,
be
for
nice.
sure.
He'll still
Yeah.
be nice and still all
Yeah.
that stuff, and he still
Yeah.
probably plays. I'm sure they have their own relationship, but like that shit was a turnoff for all parties involved. I think we're all. Danielson might have been turned off with me. I was turned off with Danielson.
Just
I was turned off with Car.
based on
Not
that just
not
based on the
just that,
commentary.
just that time, that whole
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
29 after Bite the Bullet, around Bite the Bullet time, after Bite the Bullet, Cardi time, before COVID. Like that time was right before COVID is happening. But it's
Right.
just like a window, like an 8-month window. And then it just started getting worse and worse because I'm not good with disrespect. And even if the disrespect is small, I'll go over the top, right? Because fuck that, right? And that's my bad.
Right.
I could be more mature. I'm the mature. I should be more mature. But it's not that I was wrong. It's just I could have did it more mature, that we could have avoided a lot of things. But you got to know that Cardi now, so Free the City, the first concert of in Toronto after COVID, the first one, they gave it
Right.
to Cardi.
Right.
And Cardi invited me to that.
Right.
So he almost in his way said like, yo, here's a little something. And Cardi at the time, I could send Cardi an album and he listen to it, but we don't have we don't have any relationship, nothing like that. But like if I
Right.
see him on road, whatever, he'll make sure to come over and yo, da 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 da.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's nothing I could quote to say like something like, there's one kind of thing that sticks out where
So
he's like,
he
yo,
showed love and gave encouragement, like
yeah,
patted you on the
like
back
that's
type
that's
type
kind of
shit.
that's kind of
Got it.
thing where it's like,
Got it.
yo,
Got it. Got it.
like, yo, everything's not like it seems. That's one thing he kind of would say. And
Right.
like, yo, you just got to know who you have around you. Those are the
Gotcha.
type of things that I could say that he's given.
So for me, not knowing you guys, first time
Mm-hmm.
talking, obviously, you know what I'm saying, catching up
Mm-hmm.
on everything that you guys has done. For me, I would have guessed like I'm looking at the Canadian hip hop scene. No one has ever done grimy quite like you guys did
Mm-hmm.
or are doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have guessed. You stood on the shoulders of the predecessors. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it took time to get here. But do you actually feel that way, or were you just kind of doing your own shit
Yeah.
and sort of
I,
inserted yourself into the game? Like, or do
yeah.
you give credit to the people before you, or was it not really like that?
No, I give credit. I give credit to them, like, because I'd see them, but I'm not gonna lie and say, yo, like, I'm a big Toronto hip hop fan. Like, it's not like that. There's a few people and the few people that I do like, it's just certain songs I like. You know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right,
It's not like I'm
right,
like a guy. I'm gonna make sure I go to the show and stuff. And that could be a fault of Toronto, but also it could be a fault of the industry because the industry doesn't push our shit well, which
yeah,
I could see now. So that's why I even give those people more credit. Like, like the Jellystones, like the Ghetto Concepts, like even my man Rebel and Wild Graffiti Logics. That's like even going further back. Like there's always songs, Citizen Kane. Like there's always people that always had like those 1-2 songs that are like, yo, chaos, like undeniable. And Cardi's obviously the leader of that. Cardi probably has the most music I've heard out of a Canadian would be Cardi, right? And those albums, those Akon times, like he was on the verge, on a cusp, and T Dot Slang and all those are legendary friggin' all time killing, legendary
yeah, yeah,
fucking that track's undeniable, like
yeah.
undeniable. So I say this though, that I don't care who, anyone from my generation, anyone I could say born under 88, listen to East Coast music first coming up. So
Yeah.
our rap naturally is gonna, and besides East Coast music, reggae. And I think reggae is the father of hip hop, to be honest. My humble opinion.
Yeah, well,
Point
from
blank. I see
Jamaica,
point blank.
obviously.
Salute J. Roberts. Point
Yeah.
blank. Those brothers, obviously, and these are the things. Some of these guys have reached out now
Do you
to the
know
time.
Point Blank, for example? Because
I
that's
so
like,
so I don't know them. There's a 1-2 brothers. I know some of the 1-2 TNT. It's without trying to be too fucking political, because saying you know someone or saying how you know someone or
Yeah,
what, it stirs
yeah,
up too much. I'm in a inner circle. I don't care to know anyone. And if I know
yeah,
you, you know that you know me and I know you and our relationship is good. That's all
yeah,
that matters to me.
yeah,
But rather than like get into details, because Toronto's so finicky, like, oh, he's Regin's over there, and then they have a beef with these type of people. Now my like GCP, like point blank, like JB, we have a relationship. You know what I mean? I mean, what did I say? Flemo, GCP, those guys. We have a relationship. So it's
right.
like those guys could be at beef with point blank, and I don't know shit, and
To
I don't
to
know this.
to
I'm
be honest, between you and me, I know when people throw out the term family, like they say it in kind of, I think people throw that around way too
too
easily, bro.
easy,
Do you
way too
agree?
easy.
It's
A
too
one
easy, bro.
hundred percent, 100%, and
Right,
that's
right.
dangerous, but it's also lingo too. So it's
Yeah,
tough
yeah. It's lingo,
to get away
obviously, but
from,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, but
yeah,
like at the end of the day, when it comes to real street, a lot of people have died, like like especially from my era, from within those crews, like a lot of things. So I don't know whose heartstring you're really touching on when you're like, yo, that guy's the man, or this guy's this. Like I'd rather not get into that, the
yeah.
politics. The people that know, and I respect all of them
It,
straight.
it's cool that you're just giving it like cut and dry, what it is. You're not turning it into a legend
Yeah,
just because you're talking to me.
yeah, just because we're
You're
talking, right,
telling it as it is,
right.
right? So fair
That's
enough,
it.
man.
And
Fair enough.
and that's the thing. And it's like, yo, at the end of the day, I would say that it's inspiration because I see some of those guys like, yo, I want that. Jellystone, yo, I'd love to have a video. That track is crazy. I'd love to have a video
Yeah,
like that out here.
yeah,
Mayhem Moriarty's, like people that are closer to my age, what went down with him was sad, with the
yeah.
whole snitching shit. Like these little things is just like, you look at these things and it's like Toronto just never could come over the break that cusp until Drake. And the representative for hip hop might not, if we're to have like a draft to say who's first place in a grimy as our grimy hip hop person, I don't think a lot of people in Canada would have Drake on the card.
No,
Girls
no.
would have Drake on
Of
the card,
course.
but from the grimy type of top, Drake wouldn't be necessarily our representative.
Well, listen. I was a big fan of some of his early music,
One
man,
hundred
and
percent. Me
he's
too.
fell
I'm
off.
still
When
a
he
fan of
wants
his
to write a
music
song,
sometimes.
he knows how
One
to write.
hundred percent.
His
One
shit's all over
hundred
the place
percent.
still,
One
but
hundred percent. That's
he
beyond the fact. That's beside the fact.
as much as people might want to, some people might want to distance themselves from him at this point. Some people,
And like
he did open the doors for all subgenres of
for
Canadian hip hop to
for us
claim
even,
Toronto.
it
Right? You
it
can't
just to
dispute that, right?
yeah, just to say you're from Toronto at a certain time is cool enough
Yeah,
now. But at the same time, I don't even care about that either, to be honest.
yeah,
Like that's what I don't know what I'm biting my tongue for or whatever, because it's like no one from any of those people have paid me $1. No one plans to pay me $1. And even if someone has respect or see what they're doing, what does that fucking equal amount to in my pocket? Nothing. So if you badmouth my name, would that hurt me? I don't know, because where am I trying to go? Like, am I trying to be an industry darling? Like,
right,
I
right.
don't give a fuck. I
To
really don't give a fuck. I
to
want to live in hip hop as a place. Sorry. I want to live in hip hop
yeah.
as a place where what would be great for me would be making six figures, high six figures, and that would be enough for me because I don't care for the full limelight, to be honest, on another level. But I know that at some place, this music is going to feed me how I want to be fed, pause, and it's going to definitely do what it needs to do for me. But the level, I'm not aspiring to be fucking Jigga. I don't, it's just not, it's not necessary. You know what I mean? It's not to say I don't want great things. It's just not necessary for me.
to
I don't see the necessity for that.
to me, to put a bow tie on it, Drake pushed the commercial, you know what I'm saying, side of
Right,
Canadian hip hop on the international stage.
right,
You guys are the grimy side to me,
right,
you know what I'm saying? And I'm
right,
sure other people tell you the
right.
same.
But
So,
I'm sure at the same time, what you don't think Danielson wants a bag like to get that Drake? His aspirations might be different than my
do
aspirations,
you think you'd have
especially when you
a
come.
aspiration to have a track with Drake? I wouldn't
No, I
imagine
wouldn't
that.
say. But would he? I'm not saying he would, but would he turn down a track with Drake?
Right, right.
Would I turn down with a track with Drake? No,
True,
I wouldn't turn
true.
down a track with Drake.
Right,
But I don't know. I'm not saying his aspirations to have a track with Drake. I'm saying his aspirations might to be as big as Drake.
right,
That's what I'm saying.
right,
My aspirations is not that. I don't have that. Right? I'm
right.
not saying that's what his aspirations are. I'm saying that it's coming from the grimy side. Like you don't think Conway or Benny have aspirations to be Jigga one day, I could see that within them. They're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
trying to chase that
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah.
I don't really necessarily see that, but I do see that maybe I might find the next Jigga through doing what I do. I might find the next, I might create the company that does something like that, but it might not be me as the rapper.
Right.
I just see this rap shit right now as a pamphlet to wherever I'm gonna take it. And I have my seed and I am hip hop is not just fucking rapping. Hip hop is culture. I live hip hop. The fucking way I walk, the fucking way I talk, the integrity of that original hip hop, it's just me. So I can never leave that. But as
Okay.
far as pimping hip hop, I could care less, bro. And if what I say can not get me an extra $50,000 somewhere where I could have not got that, like I just can't fathom what I'm in a whole different world now. Like that's just I'm in a whole
You
different
you
world dynamic
you're
of
playing by different rules, man.
yeah,
That's
I'm
how
playing by
it's
my own
interesting.
rules.
Yeah,
I don't need to
yeah,
play by any rules. I've
yeah,
made my own rules my whole life and
yeah,
survived. I will
yeah,
always feed my child. I'll always have a roof over my
yeah,
head.
yeah,
That's basic necessities, and the government won't have to give it to me.
yeah,
I'm doing it no matter what. So what
yeah.
else can anyone give me? I'm not sucking dick for nothing. For
Right.
nothing.
Yeah,
Metaphorically, or it seems that that's fucking literal nowadays that you have to suck dick.
yeah.
I'm not doing that for nothing. There's no amount of dollar that could do that, metaphorically. But there's some people that might not think they're sucking dick because their ethics are different, and they're
Right.
going to compromise
Some
that.
people
I just
are wired
yes,
differently, bro. So
and they might not see it
entirely.
as sucking dick, but I see it as sucking dick. Like, nah, yeah,
Yeah,
I can't like Kendrick because fucking Drake.
yeah.
I'm scared that I might lose something from Drake. Like, what? Or the possibility of Drake something like Kendrick is a fucking man too. Like,
Right.
who cares? Drake can rap well. He's just not a gangster,
S-
and he can still be a gangster bought in gangster. Like I bought in. He has to do gangster shit in order to maintain the crown on his head. He has to. That can be true
So
too.
so so so, so here's the thing, man. Like this year, I'm really focusing on interviewing Toronto artists, artists in
Mm-hmm.
Ontario, Canada, more so than I have in previous years. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to describe the Toronto hip hop
It
scene
is.
or like the area.
It's not
It's
real.
really all over the place.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
not
real.
so you're validating. It's really not
There's
like
no
integrated like that.
industry. We have no industry. In fucking when you hear those podcasters talking America, the Joe Buttons, they will tell you stories of every fucking rapper they ran into because those 5, 6 studios that you have to be in have to be. We're at DITC studio. When we went out there, we went to DIT studio, Diamond D.
Yeah,
Yo,
right.
what? Why are we going there? Because it's a staple. It's one of the places you have to go to. We don't have those have to go to, and if we do, they're not available to. I walk in the ITC studio and I see fucking Usher plaques. You think if I walk in a studio that has a fucking Drake plaque, they're welcoming to me? I highly doubt it. I don't
Right.
know what that studio is, and it's not welcome to me.
But
But
culturally, is there any center or hubs? Maybe you guys are a hub because you guys are
yeah,
putting on the
I'm trying to
shows
make one.
of real hip hop, right? But
Merciless is the hub for us. Like any dude that fucks around with me,
yeah,
at whatever I go around to the West End or whatever, I'll go and check those guys and do wherever their home studio, wherever they're comfortable, or we email tracks too. But for the most part, yo, if you want to come fuck with me, come fuck with me. Come to Merciless. And a lot of brothers go to Merciless. A lot of East
yeah.
End, a lot of from variations of age, trap rappers, drill rappers, they all go to Merciless too.
So on all levels, your assessment, this shit is disenfranchised. It's
It's
all over the
terrible.
place.
There's no union. Yo, anything to set up, like there's nothing, there's no one set like Remix Project might seem like an establishment, but this is the problem. They don't and not even Remix Project as a thing. I think Remix Project is the best one. So let's put them there over there. Now, grants and all this type of stuff, like we don't exist. We don't exist. If Joe Buttons and I use those examples because I listen to their fucking pod. If those guys were, if America had the grant system over there, they're giving the grimiest guys those grants immediately because they see the potential in them that they can
Mm,
still make a song.
mm.
It comes from a different angle from the grant angle. You have to become commercial before you get the grant. It doesn't fucking make sense.
But in this day and
I need
age,
the
can a grant
motel.
do anything for you
It
in this day and age?
can, but
Right.
the guy that really fucking needs the help, the real grimy kid that really needs the help that has no chance of the grant is not gonna get the grant Pressa will get the grant now, but Pressa then wouldn't get the grant. So you have to get yourself activated in order for it to even happen for you, right?
Right.
A Boy Wonder will get the grant. A Drake, those guys are already established and they're getting grants. They're getting grants.
Right.
They're getting grants. Do you think they need a grant? They're probably paying out their dudes here.
Does
this grant.
The government get anything out of giving a grant? No,
Of
they
course.
don't get anything out
It's
of it.
all
Though.
government funding.
They get something back.
Just like
they get
just
something
like
back out of it.
But just like
a
anything
business.
Just like government funded. If you have a school and you have a budget, if you don't use the whole budget, you're not going to get the same budget again. So you'd want to use more budget. So when the government comes back to give you money, there's bigger. So now it's just washing money. The whole system applies for everything. Government's washing money in order to print more money. So we need to wash it with these type of things. It helps each other.
Right.
It's a system. It's how it works. Everything works that way.
Honestly, I like getting. I like getting this raw truth review about it.
We're all
pretty cool, man.
We're all being picked.
So I wanted to get back to your catalog for a second. So the Big Ghost project, man. Production is crazy. I had Big Ghost on my Mickey Diamond interview, man. Apparently
he spoke.
We were talking for a bit, man.
Big Ghost?
And like in the DMs, me and him are exchanging, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought like, voice.
I'm like, bro, like, do you want to be on the interview? He's like, I don't know if you know, I've never done a video interview. He's like, I only do text interviews. I don't think you would do them. So I'm like, why don't I send you some questions and I'll read them out loud, your answers
like
for
that.
So but then he joined the live too and was like chiming in back. So anyway,
voice. You heard his voice?
No. But in the chat, he was responding in a weird. You know what I'm saying?
I'm curious. I'm curious what Big Ghost is too.
But apparently that's a first too. Even that.
That's
so
dope.
That's
pretty
fucking cool.
That's super fire.
But anyhow, man. So I stumbled across the project you're heavily featured on, Carpe Noctem.
Right.
Means Seize the Night. That's from 2020.
Salute.
Was that after Bite the Bullet dropped? That opportunity opened up? Or?
No, that came before Bite the Bullet. That was the start of the year, and Bite the Bullet was the end of the year.
So I just want to frame. You got Lukey Cage. It's cool to know Lukey Cage was that far back,
for sure.
Doing all the skits and shit. Did a dope job. Rome Streets, Mooch, Riggs, ST others. How did that come together? Because I've been told when he reaches out to you, it's like a sign. You know what I'm saying? That that you're doing something right. How did it all happen? And what does that mean?
Yeah, he just like that. That's dope. Like Big Ghost. For me, what's funny is because I'm from Toronto, he'd been hated on Drake a long time, and he had a blog that he would be fucking talking like Ghostface and hated on Drake, and that shit was hilarious. This way back. This is before I'm rapping. Like this is probably like 2012, 2013. So I don't know the exact date, but like I just knew that name. So when I started seeing within our genre, I'm like, this is the same Big Ghost. And then you'd see on his page he talk like that. I'm like, oh, this is the same Big Ghost. You know what I mean? And then I guess like I think he did some big projects before that project, like big like Crime Apple, and I think everything he touches is fucking gold. Like he sells. If it's a money thing within the genre, he sells and makes fire. So he has an undeniable, and I guess the mystique of him adds to it too. But I don't think that's a selling point really. It's just the quality of work.
It's amazing.
And
production on that project.
Yeah,
amazing.
The first time he hit me up was because of the £5 minimum. He's like, yo, in the DMs, he just said straight like, no one's shooting videos like this, and that's Peace to Mercenary too. He's like, no one's shooting videos like this. Like, this is incredible. You put another level of what it's supposed to be. Now everyone's shooting videos like that. But at that time,
this is your contributions to the culture, man. This is your solid contributions.
I have to put that out there because I know. Because Benny it's Mercenary, right? Mercenary changed that game, that landscape of what that was. And that's now you have to look at Benny getting Mercenary. Those guys are calling him for the video. So it makes you know that, you've been watching this. Regardless if you like it or not, you've been watching us. They've been watching us. They know who we are. You don't have to give it up for me to know. You know who I am. I don't care if you like me or not. You know who I am. And I did this off of this, just not no cosign. So anyway, I digress. And then the time came and he's like, yo, fucking, I'd like you on this project, bam, bam, bam. And he's like, if you're down, let me know. Yeah, I'm down. He sent me the beats and I rapped on them. No one was on the beats. I just rapped on them. And some of the beats weren't exactly the same of what he sent me. And then some of the beats, some of the joints he spliced. Like he used half the verse here and half the verse there.
So was he essentially trying to get all the hungry, like, underground dudes that were establishing themselves on one track? Like, what was that moment? Can you frame that? Because it seems like a big deal looking back on it. To me,
no clue what he was doing. He was just saying he's putting a project together with a bunch of artists. So I didn't know what he was doing. Yo, he dropped that. I remember clearly when I heard the album. He sent it to me New Year's Eve 2019. So it dropped in 2020, like maybe a week or two into 2020. He sent it to me New Year's Eve. I have a tradition where my homie and his girl and me and my girl hang out. And this time we hung out at because we usually have a Christmas party with a lot of people. We host a Christmas party. Right. And then New Year's, we just keep it to the one homie. Salute my dude C's. He's my right hand. Boom. So the tradition, and I got this email like, yo, Big Ghost album. And I might have did those verses in, I don't know, maybe early 2019, maybe 2018 even. So it was
recorded.
Yeah, recorded.
Written.
So in my mind, it wasn't really something that was.
Oh, it was a while. He was sitting on it.
Like he was creating this monster. Wow. Imagine you're working with 10
for a couple
8, 10,
years,
11 artists. Right. Yeah, you're working with a lot of artists.
Yeah.
It could be a year, it could be 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because getting all these verses from all these artists must be fucking pulling teeth. Like it can't be easy, right? So all I do know is that when I got it, the completed project, I didn't know what it was. I was just recording verses for Big Ghost and sending it to him, and whatever happens, happens. It wasn't about it being an album. He's trying to figure out who's getting a part. He might have mentioned Rek Ali. He might have mentioned a couple dudes that were going to be a part of it, but he just hit me. And me, I'm not going to ask questions. All right, cool. Do. Sent those over ASAP. I forgot. 20 going into 2019, December 31st, he sent me the final project. I sat here with we left my fucking wife and his girl right over here in my living room, and I fucking sat here and fucking listened to the album, me and C's, the whole album like 3 times.
Must have been crazy though.
I'm like, yo, I got a Big Ghost project, like to start 2020. It's on. And then I knew where I was getting, because if you really think about my level up, to me, Sewer Science was like a step above the projects before it. And then after that Bite the Bullet corner, like Big Ghost, Bite the Bullet. And once 2021 came around, it was just like project. All of them just started. Soul, 98 Miles, fucking all of them just started hitting, and I was becoming better at what I'm doing. Now I'm trying to take another level from that. So it's just cyclical for me.
And Crime Apple is also on the Big Ghost project.
Right.
Crime Apple was also on the
Right. Because reality, to be honest, I could release 8 albums a year easily. But I just now it's time to fine tune.
Did you start connecting with these guys because of that project, or did you know a lot of these guys outside of it?
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just going out there, and we travel to some places. A lot of times, Danielson had the friggin', yo, I'm gonna do a show here. You know, you can come on stage if you come with me over there. And all right, cool, boom, boom, and then you meet some guys that weren't even like Rome Streets wasn't even. Danielson did like a track with Rome Streets out there by being out there and doing a show. And he ended up I think Rome Streets jumped on a show that didn't even have his name on it. Just happened to be there. Like, who's this guy? This guy's killing it. And then Danielson did a song on Fit with Finn, and they shot a video, and that's it. Like, everything's just happening fast. Yeah. So if you think about it, that's like probably 2018, 20, like these guys are moving fast. Like, they're in the Mecca. They're in fucking New York City. So things, I'm sure, move faster for them. But to be honest, Danielson's been doing this at this pace a longer time than a lot of these guys that are even Griselda, even longer than Griselda, right?
Is there anyone, like, it seems like he's, if not touring, he's doing a lot of dates, Danielson.
Right.
Is there anyone with this sound from Canada doing what Danielson's doing in Europe or like in Texas? Like, he seems to be the only one. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I have no read on it.
Honest. Yeah, I have no clue. I mean, we are myself. I don't know anyone else though.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. So how are you doing for time, man? I mean, I got more material here.
Shoot,
I hope everyone's enjoying this, man. I could stop and like read out people's responses, but I know Asun has a lot to say, and I'd rather let it roll than break it up too much.
And I'm gonna keep talking to you. I need to get another beer, but I can hear everything you say.
out everyone out. We got Jay
Yeah.
Roberts, we got Apollo Lofton,
Peace
Crisco
to everyone.
Caliente, Mady Florian. Are you guys enjoying this?
Risco.
No.
Risco.
Laser Lucky. Dope. So you can still hear me? Is that right?
I hear everything.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
dope. So I wanted to ask you about like a moment like that, or are there any other moments in your career where you thought, "Oh, shit's about to pop off, man," where you get excited and then you have to recenter yourself, or you've never really gone that excited about
I'm not
any
that guy.
moment in
Yeah.
time?
I don't have that in me because it's just my reality is reality. Just like I said, when I was about to buy the Bentley, that's as high as I got. Like, yo, I have a house about to drive, pull up in a Bentley in this house. I'm fucking the man. And any type of excitement that I got excited for, that shit ended a day later with a shooting. So like it's hard. So from even
Wow.
before that point though, it's hard for me to like I think it's instilled in us like, yo, you know what can be it can be gone tomorrow. Like I said with my parents, like they went from struggling, good times, medium, yo, we bought a house, we did it, to, oh, this can be taken away from you,
Yeah.
to, oh, now we're struggling, we got another house, then it comes back to the struggle. It's just everything's cyclical. Everything, your good time will become bad at some point, more than likely. And it's bad is only here. So really, is it bad? Like what's good and what's bad? And sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
And if I got signed, right, if Jay-Z came and said, yo, I'm giving you Ace the biggest contract ever, you don't think there's a whole nother bag of worries that come after that?
Yeah.
A whole nother bag of worries?
Yeah.
And that's going to be even more than you've ever thought about because you don't know what it is. You don't know who's plotting on you now. Like this guy, I need to get this guy out the way.
So do you live in the moment, would you say more, or are you more future thinking? You know what I'm saying? Or do you...
Oh, that's a tough one. That's also cyclical for me. I like reflecting a lot. I do reflect a lot, but I do think about the future. I'm just in my mind. I'm so neuro.
Me too.
I'm in my mind
Me
so
too, though,
much.
Bro. Me too.
So much.
Me too.
It could get bad sometimes, and that's where I have to like learn how to plug out. But it'll be future. I can be present too. I'm good at being present in moments. Like I think I'm good at. I'm a Pisces, right? And Pisces is the dreamer, which I hate. I prefer visions over dreams. But Pisces is very in the air all the time. Like I could think about the furthest right and the best way it could go, and I could think about the worst way it could go to the extreme of both sides. But I've learned to master right here. Just let's stay here and then pull yourself. My wife is a Taurus and she's very grounded. She's very everything's planned. And that's why it works well, because when she gets too planny, then I come in. When I get too fucking, yo, you're going to, things aren't that bad. Like, yeah, you're right. I forgot. You know, I still drive a BMW and I still fucking pay every bill. And like, it just, like when you come back, when you can easily grab yourself back, oh, I didn't die from getting shot that time. Or I didn't, that thing could have been, I got in a car accident, but yo, you lost that car. Okay, who cares? Like, it's just always.
I wake up more grateful these days than ever, just based on some
100%.
shit that's happened last 5 years, even some
My
health
kid,
things, scares here and there,
health.
and like, I'm just like, I wake up grateful these days more than ever, to be honest. And peace. Look for peace more than anything, man.
That's brilliant what you said. Health is the one thing that will G-check you immediately, because that's out of your control until it's in your control.
Yeah.
If health gets out of control, nothing. There's not a bill that can matter. There's not a fucking loan that could matter. There's nothing that could ever matter.
It's a game changer. It's a game changer. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
And cheers to you for getting over the health. That's a big thing. That's beautiful.
Thank you, man. So I want to, segue back to your music, man. One of my favorite songs of yours, period. I just like the sound of it and sort of the content. You got a track called "Talented Liars" off your project titled "Seventh" from 2023. Who produced that? I can't find Sibs. It wasn't clear in like any of the notes or anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sibs
cool. So I want to quote on some of the stuff in there. You start by saying these kids assimilate way too easy, man. They just go on the computer and upload the culture. Don't be deceived. Then I'm gonna read your bars, and I would really like you to get into this if you feel like it.
Let's go.
Okay?
Let's go.
You're like, I see the movie trying to play the short game. He found his groove in a rural town, his low age. A couple of friends, a couple black friends he grew around to
Around to
throw
throw
shade.
shade.
That shit don't work around here because we don't play.
Mhm.
So, in terms of, you're talking about cultural appropriation, correct?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, you tell me. I have my interpretation of what that song is about. What's
To hear your interpretation first.
My take, essentially, you're talking about white dudes that are taking on certain aspects of street culture, maybe black culture. There wasn't too much hip hop said in there, but I do want to talk about hip hop.
Yeah.
What was, you tell me
exactly, is that black culture is more based on like, yo, you come around these guys that like, you could even see it within a Drake, where like you see an old video of him in Degrassi, and not Degrassi, like at a table where he's talking to like, I guess his friends of the time, his white friends, like, yeah, these black guys say this, and he's saying this stuff at a dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like, whether you're white or not, I think sometimes, because I'm a person that's moved a lot, so I've seen the rural town.
Yeah.
I've seen my parents living in Whitby for 6 months. It's all white kids at the school, and mind you, I'm in grade 5, right? Yeah. Grade 4. Yeah. So assimilating, one thing, I always had a best friend. Like, I'd always be at a sleepover. I always do that. And I think I've had friends I've had Russian friends. I've had every type of culture. But I think sometimes, especially now, people want to create their image. And I'm talking for rappers, not for people.
Right.
I'm talking for rappers. This is the worst part about it. Rappers need to maintain an image. They feel as if they need to maintain an image. And I think sometimes the white guys in particular, they need to make sure that we know that they came up, or they might hide back certain things about who they really are in order to maintain the image. When really, they don't even need to do that, because everyone's allowed in hip hop, clearly. Yeah. But like, it's just disgusting when you start looking at someone and it's like, yo, you're just overdoing it just so you can belong more, when you don't have to do that. You already belong. And that's kind of what I was getting at.
So obviously I'm white skinned, but I want you to hold no punches on this, because I have my thoughts.
Absolutely.
On this. So, do you think this is a chronic issue today? People downloading the culture, as you said, the culture wasn't always a term around hip hop. And I don't know if you're referring to hip hop.
No.
It came about at some point in the last 10 years, culture, like 15 years. I remember that there was no such term before, but like, it wasn't referred to as that, from what I remember early on, right?
Absolutely.
Do you think it's a chronic issue today, people downloading the culture?
It is.
Is it plaguing hip-hop?
I think it is. And I think that it's not just white people that download the culture. It's every type of person. There's black people that download the culture too. I think that that's a very problematic thing. I think that any culture can be downloaded.
Right.
I think tomorrow I can start loving anime and look it up and find out everything about anime and become the biggest anime fan to fit in. Especially, let's say, I'm going to give you a perfect example. Let's say I can draw well. I'm a great friggin' illustrator. I can paint. I'm amazing. And my painting style is fucking real. Like, I paint apples and shit, right? I paint apples and all this type of shit. Then all of a sudden, though, the shit that takes off is the anime style of painting. Now I'm trying to friggin' paint anime style. This is not the wrong part. That's fine. Paint your anime style. But now my anime, I'm starting to discover things about anime, whatever. But then now I'm friggin' going in and I'm looking up at the culture. Oh, this. I'm checking everything. I'm learning all the things. I'm going into the Twitter worlds of anime and all these type of things. And I end up in this world and becoming a guy in this anime culture. Now I start fabricating my past a little bit of like, because I don't want to look like the guy that just started this anime culture, because I never came here from when. That's fine. Yo, I could have told you that story perfectly, getting interviewed about the anime culture from that point. I started like this and this is how it happened. That's fine. But now when I start fabricating the past, you're the talented liar, because you're fucking talented and you've got here already. They love you. Why you got to fabricate so far down the past of who you really are? You don't have to rap this way You don't have to rap about guns and selling drugs. If I just started selling drugs and guns 3 years ago, what the fuck?
What
Who started selling drugs and guns at 30?
What does that do for the culture when someone does that? How does it negatively impact it?
Because if that person becomes successful, that's all you have to do. You understand? Right. It's like, now I become successful. Now I can fake it all the way and just do it. Now, is it culture, or is it just until I've acquired everything out of this? Now it's cool enough to move on to the next thing that I can acquire everything out of. Now the culture is no culture because it's not based on, and this is why hip hop's coming back to the way of the grit, and the hip hop was never about the flashy shit all the time, all that stuff.
So I
now it's always that.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say
how much you shoot people and all this shit. Like,
yeah,
you never shot nobody.
Yeah,
so it's crazy.
I've never shot anyone for sure.
Yeah,
me no.
But that should make you part of hip hop culture. So why would you fabricate that? That would be like, yo, I shoot mad people. You come on this, like, yo, I understand, like, yo, you're shooting. I've been shot before and you never been shot. But why are you telling me that? That doesn't validate you.
How do you feel about this notion that people don't respect where hip hop came from? Do you care about that? I don't want to fish for things that are not there for you, but is that something that bothers you?
I talk about this
because I have something to say about it, but I wanted to know if it bothers you first.
We did this to ourselves somehow.
Right.
Somehow. I don't know. The whole shit is devalued. It's so fucking devalued.
Yeah.
And I watched it by becoming behind the curtains. No one makes money off hip hop. Our legends aren't making a legend. You think Rolling Stones is fucking doing a collab album with fucking anyone from that fucking group is doing something with like a new rock group? If they wouldn't, you think Rolling Stones needs to do anything? Rolling Stones makes all their money off music. They can make all their money off music. Yeah. You think Wu-Tang makes all their money off music? The most amount, I'm saying?
Right.
Wu-Tang, probably Ghostface and Wu-Tang, music catalog is probably this, and endorsements or whatever sponsorship or other partnership is this. You think in any other genre, you think Rolling Stones, their music is this, but I make more money off this? No way. They make the most. They can go on tour and make all the money. Buku dough. You think I can go and get a fucking Rolling Stones verse for some type of money I can pull out of my pocket? But I can get a verse from Styles. I can get a verse from the Locks. I can being nobody. But that's not the Locks' fault. Don't get this twisted. What I'm saying. That's not their fault. This is hip hop has been positioned to be pimped. It has been positioned to be not worth the same value. It's been positioned this way that it's not valuable. The music is not valuable. It's a thing you do around the music. I'm just giving you this music is. I said it already. It's my pamphlet. It's not my portfolio. This is my advertising.
Now I get it. Now I understand what you mean.
If Kith hits me up and says, "Yo," when Trey Paul says, "Yo, wear my shit," I'm banking on Trey Paul to win so I can win. If Kith comes and gives me a deal, that's the thing we said, like, yo, he's getting his money. Yo, when I go on that TV show or whatever, it's not the music.
What I find interesting is when, like, let's say cultures other than like Black, Puerto Rican, you know what I'm saying? When they can acknowledge that hip hop is like not from their cult, like not it's hip hop is not white. You know what I'm saying? Like.
It's not.
That's sort of strange because the time I grew up like with hip hop, people are wearing like African pendants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, by the time it hit my ears in '87, it was becoming an industry with Def Jam.
Right.
You know, I had Raising Hell as a 7-year-old, Beastie Boys tapes.
Beastie Boys, right?
But you understood that this is, for the most part, for me was like, this is Black music. This is not. I'm a guest here. And I can acknowledge that because that's the era I came from. But it's interesting now. It's so ubiquitous. It's like, I don't know. I find it funny when people can't acknowledge that basic.
Exactly.
That basic. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a guest here because I'm not from New York. I even take it that far. Like,
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I'm
actually
a guest here too. Like, if you're to say like roots and reggae and calypso and soca, I'm not a guest for that. That's all I heard coming up. That's it. That's Belize. We have Punto, which is a version of calypso, reggae, dancehall, all that stuff. I'm not a guest for that. I grew up on that all day. my dad still listened to hip hop and all these things, but I didn't, like I told you, I didn't come up saying I wanted to be a rapper. I didn't come up doing that. That's not part of my thing. A lot of those dudes in New York, from when they're, especially like I even give Fury that type of shit. They're and you're in the age group category where you're born with hip hop. You're kind of raising in the time of hip hop, the same time.
Different. It's different than now. It was still like a novel thing to come across records.
But what I'm saying is
you're in the know, but now it's everywhere.
Right. What I'm saying though, the birth of hip hop aligns with the birth of you, literally. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you got to watch hip hop in the exact. I'm a little bit younger.
Well, I'm 45. I wasn't a teenager. I was like 7. I was a hip hop head.
So you
only listened to hip hop from like 7, 8 years old.
I know,
pretty much.
like,
it's kind of crazy, actually.
Merciless was like 10 years old when hip hop came.
That's
different.
Or 7. That's different.
Yeah,
so he's little really different.
Like, he's picking up everything at the moment while it's happening.
Yeah,
that's a different. Like hip hop is more his than it is mine.
Yeah.
When I talk to him, like I can't even have certain debates with him because, like, okay, fine. I'm just giving you my opinion, but you're gonna always feel right because you came up with it, and you watched it in the moment, at the moment this dropped. You don't know how people reacted. You don't know how this was, what this did to me at this time. I don't have some experiences. I'm 81, and I'm coming from Belize, so really I'm not into hip hop till I'm 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm really
go ahead.
further down the line. So it's like, I understand the guesswork. That's why I don't understand how people can't understand that. Like how someone 20 years old can't understand that. That's like you saying like, yo, I am right. Like you can go and dig and listen to everything, but you are not in the moment of those things. And that's why I love Wu-Tang so much, because I was in the moment of all that shit dropping. I lived in that moment.
In retrospect, I realized by the time, I'm a 7, 8 year old, my older cousin's taking me to get Run DMC tapes and Beastie Boys and Fat Boy. This is already packaged now. It's become an industry even then at that point. So it's interesting when you talk to New Yorkers that were there in real time as teenagers, like all breakdance crew. That was hip hop. But so I wanted to ask you this. You kind of touched on that. I want to take this to another level. For years, there's a perception that Canadians can't be taken seriously in hip hop. Then you got a diss track as recently by Kendrick, Not Like Us. I wanted to ask you, has Canada done enough at this point to claim itself as part of the culture, however you perceive the culture to be?
A long time, before Drake. We're part of the culture. And the people that come out here and touch Toronto that have, just like we have, that's foolishness to me. Because like look at Maestros and look at Mishi Me's. Like those people were in the runnings. Hip hop, like you just said, it wasn't as big industry wise as it was, but they were accepted in whatever that industry, in the core of it, in Brooklyn, accepted like a mother, like she's one, he's one. Like we're part of the culture. We are part of the topic. And that's why it's because LA probably has things where they feel like they're not. It comes from New York. So it's like everyone's kind of, we need New York to validate us almost. That's how it feels. Right?
Yeah, no, what's interesting, I remember when the internet came around, you know what I'm saying? 19, 20 years old. Now I'm on these hip hop forums. I'm talking to hip hop heads from all over the US. I actually came to realize if you weren't in a hip hop hub, they kind of had the same experience as Canada. Maybe we have it tougher.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they had a very similar experience actually.
And tougher, all you're talking about when you say tougher is success. And monetary success.
Right? That's
and
what we're
industry
talking
success. That's all we're talking about. But we're not talking about critical success. Like we have, even you just saying like, yo, this is one of the best albums that came out of Canada Grammy wise. To me, that's critically acclaimed. Now you just made me critically acclaimed.
Absolutely.
Right? Critically acclaimed, not financially. And that's where we mix up things, because it's like, yo, I'm here. Those people know what I do. I don't care who else knows what I do, because they know, and the core people know, even people within my peers know what I can do. So that's all that matters at the end of the day of success.
And to be sure, the hip hop seed in Canada or Toronto has been deep. The talent pool is deep, bro. I'm homies with Shoddy, you know what I'm saying? We talk a lot in the DMs. He's like, yo, everyone I've heard from Toronto is fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like shit is deep here. Like shit has been the proximity to New York and that influence, it's been cultivated for years.
And Miami,
You know
I'm sure him coming from Miami has the same perspective of like, yo, we're not getting respect. But everyone I hear around Shadi that's featured on Shadi shit, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy? This shit is mad. This guy's killing it.
Yeah.
I work with Kingdom Come too. There's another Miami dude. Like all these guys, this is the thing. We're on, and this is the beauty of the internet. This is the beauty. This is the opposition of downloading the culture. Is uploading the culture. You can upload it too. So whereas in the 90s and 80s, we'd never hear someone like Shadi from Miami. We'd never hear it.
Yeah.
Unless you're Uncle Luke in music. We would never hear Shadi.
Uncle Luke,
Shadi would have, if this was 1995, Shadi would have had to move to fucking New York, had to set up shop in Philly, somewhere to get close to the where the culture is happening. But now with the internet, he can upload it, and he's still very much part of the
New York. I know that much in the past.
Still part of he's still part of the culture because he does this and he loves it, and that's really part of the culture.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So. Wanted to segue, man. You take trips to New York, obviously. I mean, I see your videos with Bubs, Mickey Diamond,
sure.
Shade 45, Top Shelf, all that stuff. What was it like starting to go to the U.S. and networking with people? I don't know how long you've been doing this, but was it a challenge to gain respect, or did you have sort of instant credibility in some way with people out there that you're networking with?
Yeah, and this thing of ours, I think that kind of just ended up happening because at this, like in the 2017s and 2018s, like I said with Danielson, he's already getting invited to these things, right? So it's like me being there and having tracks with them, people knew who I was, and like, yo, it's kind of just, it wasn't even thought of, like it wasn't as, now there's even more people in this thing, like there's more and more, it's constantly, and not to say they were never not there, they're probably always there, but now they're making names for themselves, right? Just in the same way that we did it. So like, I never really looked at it like that. I mean, I've been going to the States since I was a kid. I have a lot of family all over the States, and just like networking, I moved a lot. I'm a networker. So regardless if I was doing rap, let's say I was friggin' Danielson's homie, because he brought his homies out there too, just like I brought my homies. Yeah. We traveled with like 12 of us out there. One of those trips had like 12 or 13. Though not my guys aren't all rapping, but they're still networking with people to do other things. You know what I mean? Not all of them are producing beats. They're still networking. I think that financially in this world now, it's who you know. So you have to regardless if you work a 9 to 5, you have to. It's better. It's better that you connect with people. So even if I'm going on vacation to the Dominican or some shit, at the end of the day, I probably met people just laying out and having a conversation with someone. In an airplane, having a conversation with someone.
You're not going places special. Where you don't know no one to start with.
Yeah, now I'm building relationships, and something always helps towards something else that you never even saw left field. So I think it's just networking. For me, this is how I apply it.
Right.
I think I'm constantly networking all the time. I just said it. What track? I dropped something. My network is my net worth. So like,
I remember that line.
That's what it is. My network is my net worth, and that's how I approach everything. So yeah, I think with the music that came easy to, like, now we're in the place. We're in friggin', like, look at Sun Low and the IAT people. Like they show love to us because we're early. We're going to little venues in Jersey that we're friggin' like maybe 100 max, 200 max people, but like everyone was there that knew this culture of ours. So people that you thought were just hearing the music, they do other things too. They're the low lives. You're part of these other part of factions. So, hey, I love fashion, and now you're talking about so much other things. And now with this internet shit, now you're doing more than just music. That's why I say this is the pamphlet. I always go back to it. This is the pamphlet.
Got it, man. Mm-hmm. So, wanted to talk about vinyl and shit like that. So let me talk my shit too. Produced by Wisdom Bunny Tal. Drop. Did I say it properly, by the way?
Bonnetal. It's like Bonnet. He buns it all.
Bun it all.
Bun it all.
Got it.
Yep.
Dropped June 2024. And I see you put that out exclusively to your website. I just wanted to ask you, what's more advantageous, putting out vinyl yourself, selling it to your website, or doing it to like a Copenhagen? I don't know if you had a deal with Copenhagen or anything like that, but
I had deals with Copenhagen through, I think, the Vinyl Villain joint. This is the thing. capitalistic communitarian. I'm gonna always work with the people and network that way, but I won't rely on that. That's not how I come up. I'm not I can't stay in there. Like I want to know everything about everything. So even though that they might help, because you have to also work with them. You have to do it too, because now Copenhagen has a community of people that go and just buy stuff from Copenhagen. They might not even listen to all the rappers, but they'll buy stuff from Copenhagen. Right?
That's pretty impressive what they've done.
Right.
That's fucking impressive.
Dope. Like all these things have a community. So you want to tap in and be a part of that community too. But I also want to build my own community, because I'm one. If you have Copenhagen, you could have deals all day, but at some point, this is where I see this is the logic in me. How are you gonna make 4 albums a year for the rest of your life to survive off this? There's no pension. There's no pension.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. So what are you gonna do? When are you gonna eventually you have to turn that corner? Copenhagen Crates knows it. Whatever company you want to talk about. I've had deals with every one of those companies. It might not just be through me. When I go and pick up my own project, I'm gonna fund it. I have my website. I want to bring my subscriber list. I have to build something too. And eventually maybe I'll start buying other projects from artists, because really that's the easy part. If I don't have to create anything, I say, all right, I'll give you this money. I know this money is going to turn over. If they're giving you this money, they're taking a risk, but they have to know it turns over. I could sell way less records by me with having less people and break even. I could sell a third. If I make 300 albums and I sell 100, I break even. Those guys at Copenhagen, because they're paying off people, they need to sell 200 or 300. So likely they're going to need an artist that's going to sell 300-400 even. Really, they need that type of number. But at some point, you have to be the artist to say, let me take my power, because there's clearly something going on here. Why am I making this amount of money when I could be making the whole pot? So I just see it as, and it's all risk, right? So at some point you have to jump out and take the risk, because maybe you leave Copenhagen and you only sell 200 when you're selling the full 300, but you still probably made the same amount of money, but you have to work a little harder. I love the vinyl deal. I don't even know why I went on that tangent, really.
Well, thanks for sharing it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whoever does tap in, it'll be valuable for them.
And let me talk my shit too. I did that. I have shout out my man Kevin Crump, Microform Vinyl. He's a new plug. We were using a different company before, but again, everything's relationships. Now I met someone that's to the more ground level than the company that everyone knows out here. And I said, he's like, I can give you this. If you work with me, I'll work with you. If you bring people with me, I'll give you this 10% off. Bro, this is how much it costs us to do it. And this is how much I can give you for. So we're getting real homemade numbers. I had a thought for a long time of opening my own vinyl plant. I researched everything. I'm like, I'm gonna how much is a machine for that?
Feels like more and more people are entering this thing.
And that's the thing, because it's shot up, but that might not be a lucrative thing no more. You might have took that risk, and that hurts. But look at Muggs, DJ Muggs. That's a brilliant thing for him, because at the end of the day, he's so established. He's always going to create money off that, and he doesn't even need anyone. He could just do it himself, make his own vibe.
I put out a question in my stories, and I was just wondering, like, the sustainability of vinyl for the indie scene. Like, who's buying the vinyl? Is it the people in our age bracket that kind of grew up on it, either through our parents or like grandparents? Are like 20, 30-year-olds buying 20-year-olds buying vinyl?
They are.
Will it continue? Like, do you think it's rubbing off on the younger? Because it would be dope if it continues. I hope it does.
I think it will continue. I think it will continue, but I don't think it'll always be lucrative. It's just like it's like anything. Anything retro comes back and has a wave. Everything's a wave, bro. Everything's a wave. So, but the thing is, the biggest company in a wave makes the most money, and the biggest company, when the wave dies, loses the most money. But the biggest company that loses the most money has way more insurance policies and unions to back out and claim bankruptcy. So I look at big level thing. I look at one thing on a big level and a high level. I love doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, on a high level and a low level. I love the lowest level. I have a guy right now that's making dub plate type of shit. So like with the metal in the vinyl,
Right.
handmade. And his output, he could probably make you like 20 of them. The cost is going to be a little bit more, but he can do that with his hand and make you a vinyl that's like more serious than any vinyl you can mass produce.
So as I said, I was tapped out of the scene like on any deep
Right.
level for like a bit there. When did the vinyl thing start becoming a thing with underground hip hop? Was it since your debut album? Was it before that?
Sure.
I'm just curious.
Dope
was it before that?
Dope cornered the market already, so definitely it was already. I don't think like when was Action Bronson in them? I think they're like 2014, 2010,
2012, 2010.
Yeah. So it wasn't really then. It was like not until like Rock Marcy or who. It would be interesting to check who the first person was with dope. It might have all been maybe Alchemist shit. I don't know. But it definitely.
I want to get to the bottom of it, man. So
it might be Griselda, but Griselda definitely tore the roof off of it. That's 100%. We know that. But it might be Rock Marcy. It might be one of those guys. But like I said, that shit now when it becomes OD, people are gonna fall back. And then another person that's going to come with an old aesthetic again. Like, yo, I want a 90s aesthetic, 80s aesthetic. It's going to happen in 2050 again. In the 2050, it's going to happen in 2090 again. Like it's and people are infatuated by things that were just like bell-bottom jeans or like, tight jeans or baggy shit. Everything just comes back around. You can only reinvent the wheel like 6 different ways.
But I mean, the indie scene needs to be tied to physical product at all points, man.
For sure.
Because something that stays there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
People love their CDs. People love DVDs, like all that shit. Then you know what's going to happen? This is what keeps it alive. Eventually, people think, because I understand it being a mover, people think this is never coming back. I'm going to get rid of all this shit. Yeah. And then a lot of people start doing that. Now it becomes limited again, and that's going to hold so much value.
I would kill to have all my old tapes, man, from the 80s.
And that would be you could resell those for so much. Yeah. So then now people are going to start making them to keep and hold them in case that happens 40 years later. Yeah. It's funny, man.
Yeah,
it's funny.
So we're close to being done, bro. I want to talk about what's up next for you, bud. I know you put out a single not too long ago, Bossy Flex, produced by Imperative, amazing producer from London, Ontario. That's not too far from Toronto. He was actually pushing for this interview, which is cool.
Okay.
You had great songwriting on that, simple language, but the shit was deep. You know what I'm saying? Grown man shit. Actually, we talked about this already. You said you're going to get more vulnerable. Is that on the Imperative project? That you're gonna start spilling the beans more, and when's that coming out? Imperative want me to ask you. I think he's getting antsy.
I know he's getting super antsy.
Light of day.
I want to see it be something very special. That's kind of why, because really we have enough to do it right now. We've had enough.
Yeah.
I very much want it to be something more special than just anything. You know what I mean? Like anything I've dropped. I think everything I'm gonna put up. Like there's some projects. I have a project with MK Ortiz, a brother from Spain, that actually like hired me for this project, but it kind of took on different legs where I got more involved because I just loved it. Like I have PA Dre album, and I'm trying to reach out to him to figure. I know he has a lot of stuff going on. I have obviously
he's sick, man.
Obviously Sibs, obviously Finn. I think right now
Finn might be my favorite right now. To be honest.
I guarantee, I promise you, I have 15 albums in my vault right now, but this is what's crazy. Everything is at least 10 tracks deep, and everything is on the cusp of me wanting it to be like, this makes more sense now. Let's get this here. So I think this year is going to be a lot of me just dropping albums, to be honest. I'm going to drop a lot of albums this year and just see what sticks almost like, yo, you love that? And they're gonna be a little different. Like you're seeing me with the smooth shit, but there's some raw shit. There's some thing, but they're all gonna be lessons within the grind.
You were previewing that in your storyline, right? That was the Imperative shit. That shit sounded fire. It was obviously not high quality. I want to hear the high quality, but what I heard sounded fire, bad. So
crazy shit. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. It's wild.
And I know you've been putting in work with Shawty, man.
Oh, for sure.
When's that coming out, man? I've heard some of this shit, bro.
I swear we have like maybe 4 or 5 tracks that are unreleased, And then I have a couple on his projects. He's gonna have a couple on my projects. Like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. Like, when this shit is a fountain for real,
Yeah.
when it's a fountain, Jay Roberts even in here, we have a bunch of shit.
Yeah,
When this
putting in
shit
work.
is a
Yeah.
fountain for real, like Shotty had an incredible year. Shotty to me is probably the #1 MC of the year with all Mickey Diamond, Pro Dillinger, Shotty,
He's
all
my
of
most
them.
listened on Spotify, man. Yeah.
All those guys
Yeah.
had incredible years. Like, I couldn't say one is better than the other. I think that they had incredible. But Shotty has my ear indefinitely. I don't know what it is about him. I love replay him and Juco. They're probably my two favorite. They have something that replays over and over if you love deep shit, because you'll never catch everything. You'll never catch it. You thought you caught everything, and then on the 48th listen, you'll be like, what the fuck? How
For
did I
me,
not hear
it's
that
the
part?
inflections and his delivery and the spacing he puts on his shit. It's like
Right.
Jay-Z-esque, but in his own way. It's like, not like,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. And see how you're saying that about Shotty?
Yeah.
Juco's the same. That Jay-Z-esque shit, that simplicity without, like, it's like, yo, that line was so simple that you just walked over it. But
It's like,
those people,
why didn't I think of it type of line?
those
You know what I'm
people
saying?
aren't
Yeah.
simple. So you have to think about the other end of it. It's like, oh, that was a double. That was a triple. That was a further. Like, he was mentioning that from the 8th line before he caught you back at this line. Like, those people have, Juco and Shotty have this thing where it's like replay value.
Me and Shotty were talking. I think I've introduced him, like, indirectly in a lot of cases to Toronto cats, because he's been so much on my platform. I might have indirectly put you guys together, like, indirectly.
Indirectly,
take
but
full credit for it.
I have to give the credit. There's one person I know
Merciless.
exactly.
Merciless?
Yes.
Yeah.
Merciless played this song. He's like, yo, I went to his crib one day. He's like, yo, have you heard of this Shotty guy? I'm like, nah. He's like, he played this song, Fly Pelican Fly or something. It was something to do with the Scarface shit.
Yeah.
He played it because Merciless will buy records. He had it on vinyl.
Yeah.
And he's DJ, like, sometimes I'll come to his house and he's just DJing, doing the shit, juggling and shit. And he's like, listen to this joint. I was like, what the fuck is this? And this is the thing. This is why I don't listen to albums too much. Because if the album is really good, okay, if the album's really bad, I'm turning it off. If the album's really good, I'm turning it off, because once I hear something that hits me, I'm fucking, oh my gosh, I'm inspired. So it'll make me want to find a beat and fucking start writing. And Shotty has a lot of those. For me, I took probably 16, 17 hours to get through Alligator Alley, because probably after one track, 2 tracks, like,
I got the vinyl here. I made a post about it.
I'd have to stop the album. All right, let me put on my own beat, because I need to know if my pen is good enough. And then boom, I'll come back and go in my car and be like, oh my gosh, what did you just do?
When's the last time that happened to you, where you actually cared what the other MC?
I think that's probably at the start, when I started this thing, like when I'd hear Rock Marcy. I think Marciology and
there we go, man.
Reject 2. Reject 2 was a big album for me too. I love that album. I think when I listened to that album, that was before I really started rapping at this again. I was like, yo, this shit is stupid. I think that actually Bronson had those moments for me. I think that
Bronson, man, yeah. Peak Bronson is one of my favorites. Peak Bronson.
For sure. I think Ghostface always has that in every album for me. It's not a lot. It's funny, like guys like Saigon, guys like fucking Stack Bundles. It's always like these rarities of people that will be like, yo, I can listen to this over and over again. Go back to listen to these people over and over again and know all the lyrics off.
I'll just put it in summary. Bring them down through your shows, man.
Oh,
build that bridge, Miami and Toronto. Find an excuse to go down to Miami.
We're building it.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's gonna happen. 100%. Shotty knows that. Shotty knows that. For sure.
Sick.
Absolutely.
So look, bro. Here's a couple closing questions for you, man. All things considered, do you feel underrated in the game? Or
yes and no.
Do you think you get your just dues?
No. I don't think I get my just due. But then there's times where I get my due. Not my just due, but I get due. I have some dues paid, but I want more. But everything goes in hand. You have to work harder to get more due, right? And not to say that I haven't worked hard, but I just need to work harder at being smarter of the harder work, like knowing where to put it or who hands it gets in. Because it'll just take a spark of one person that, oh, now this person is listening. Oh, and they go back, just like even you. You went back into my catalog. You didn't know all was there.
No.
And now you've given me my due, right? So
Yeah.
now it's one of these other people that is another influential person that gives me my due, that gets to hear me now. Like, oh, one of those guys at the shows. Oh, he's a super fan. I sold 10 vinyls over holidays from one person because he heard me on that stage and he's like, I can't believe I missed this guy. I'm buying everything that he has. So this is how quickly and how slowly, I'm just patient, bro. I just know my time. I know I'm ready. That's all I can be, is prepared. And I'm prepared.
Last question. What is the most important thing you want to achieve for your legacy in hip hop? If you care about your legacy that much, maybe in life, maybe you could tell me in hip hop and in life if you feel like.
Life is a deeper, you'll get me here talking forever.
Okay, we're going to reopen that. Another dimension.
Yes. In hip hop, I know exactly what I want. In hip hop, what I want is that the generation under me, the younger boys, whatever pods, whatever one of those brothers, if I hit right now, I think there's 3 or 4 of them, but I know I'm gonna catch one of these guys that is influenced off what we're doing right now, and whether it's me having a hand in it or not, but they're gonna go somewhere that take it to a place where I couldn't imagine.
So it's not even you directly.
Not me directly.
It might be another person.
I already know it's not going to be me directly.
Wow.
I know, I have the premonition. I've had the dream probably like 8 or 9 times already, and I know it's going to happen.
Bro, a lot of people in hip hop don't have self-awareness, man. But that's a lot of self-awareness for you to say that, man.
It's real. I'm a fucking realist, bro. I know what it is, and I don't need it either. This is the other thing. My ego is not affected by that, because I've rapped with some of the greatest. I've rapped with some people that out-rap me at certain points, but I've also out-rapped some who's too. So with that being said, now what else is there? Now what else are we talking about? Financial? You might have just got a little bit better friggin' industry connects and ties and stuff, and I'm fine with that. That's cool. I'm not saying you didn't work hard. All I know is that my true joy is giving to people. That's actually a joy for me. I'm fucking Robin Hood from the start of this shit. I'm gonna be Robin Hood at the end of this shit. So if I gotta friggin' sacrifice something just to make sure other people eat more, I'd love that. I'd be smiling my grave, bro. I'd be smiling. If my people's eating more than I ever could imagine, I'd be smiling in my grave if I had anything to do with that.
That's dope. Yo, you know what's cool about this time chopping up with you is I watched like 1.5 interviews, and I thought they were pretty amazing. And I was like, does he even need another interview? You know what I'm saying? But you put out a different angle. You know what I'm saying?
It's
been cool to chop up, man.
You put it out. You know why? I knew this was going to be my best interview because you did all the work. And
bro, you have some good interviews.
You're showing me the work, though. You're showing me the work you're doing, and you're pushing it out there, and you're doing it at a different angle. Flow Rogan, bro. Fuck a Joe Rogan. This is Flow Rogan.
Thank you,
we need you.
Thank you. We're trying, bro. We're trying, brother.
We need it.
Thank you, brother. So
let's go.
Before we depart, let me just shout out Jay Roberts, people in the chat. Boo Rocks.
Been showing love. I've been reading everything.
Jody,
Jay Roberts.
MC DJ Finn, Marlin Records, Shania,
yes,
Matt. Man, we could keep going. Thank you. Any final words before we depart, Asun?
Yo, resilient, man. Just be resilient in what you love. Don't stop what you love because something outside is making you stop. Be resilient to your passion and through your passions and your loves. Whatever your passions and your love are, don't stop because something outside is dictating it. Be resilient.
Worthy reminder, brother.
Resilient. That's for me. I'm going to look at this video and talk to myself right now. Be resilient.
Dope.
That's it.
Thank you for tapping in, everyone. Have a great night.
Shotty.
We'll stay in touch, bro.
Peace and love.
Peace.